Snyder cut motherfuckers want to get on the line now? Anybody? I think so.
Do you want to see something super cool that only a few people have ever seen in their lifetimes?
No.
Attention to said screens.
Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
Turn that off. Take it off.
Surprise, you fuckers. No! No grade.
It makes no damn sense. No! Compels me, though.
Where am I? Like, what is this? What am I doing? What's
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
The other one, No Organized Chaos. Actual fandom.
What a raw tough guy!
You should delete your channel.
Take it!
The female version of Dick Grayson is Pussy Grey Daughter.
He's out of line, but he's right.
But really, if you want to do any kind of like karmic justice back in the fucking world for the damage that you're causing with this kind of shit, you should just delete your fucking channel. Okay? Drink it in. Yeah. Absorb it. Let it wash over you. Look, here's the thing.
It's the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. It's clobbering time.
I vaguely know who actual fandom is.
Hey, motherfuckers.
The journey that we choose as fans. Everything's just not always going to be great. And when it's great, you got to celebrate the hell out of it. But when it's not, you just move on to some other shit. It's like the easiest thing in the world.
Any of you incels, QAnon, 4chan, Snyder Cut motherfuckers want to get on a line now? Anybody?
Oh, somebody, please! They got the children!
The only way that you can really stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying? Fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
We're going to show you why tonight. This comment on screen right now, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, considering the topic. Because, yes, I saw some of you wondering, is this a joke? Is this for real? Are we really doing this? With all the things going on in the world? Yep. Yep. It's not just my fault, though. It's also Morgan's.
I'm hardly to blame.
Oh, you guys like puns? I hope so.
Yeah,
try to remember to do them all night.
If you want us to stop with the puns, you can donate at patreon.com/actualfandom.
Yeah, if you just have a fat wad that you want to get rid of,
we will stop punning. So some places you pay for jokes, right? Here, you pay for the jokes to stop.
That's right.
We have a system.
Right. Like this right here.
We have the button, yeah, the nut button.
What's up, man?
Hey,
Blissful
hey.
Haze. A nerd named Mark.
Good to see you again.
Blood Video Company. Are you a company do you like have videos just like of blood, or is that the name of a company that does video, or is your last name Blood? I'm sorry. I'm just questions.
You've got questions.
That's not what it's about. There is about blood a little bit, as in blood engorged.
The blood goes places. Yeah.
Regions, swollen and throbbing and pulsating and things like that. Yeah, we're talking about masturbation. I mean, at some point, I realized that we kind of have to, because, so for anybody that doesn't know the history, the lore here, we did not actually name the podcasts
right.
the word FAP. It's based on my former channel name, one of the two that it used to be, which was also before that just a show that I did on my channel called Forced Adversity, making fun of, forced diversity.
Right.
Play on words. Ha ha. I'm hilarious. Anyway, and I liked it, but I didn't like it as my channel name. I wanted to do something a little bit more open sounding for my channel name. So I didn't feel like always constricted to doing only Chud stuff. So
but then I think for the topic of, what we talk about on this show, I think it's been a fitting, Forced Adversity has been a fitting name for that.
Well, I eventually kind of conceived the idea of like, well, because I'd started wanting to do this, make videos about this before I changed the channel name.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually like before I decided to change the channel name, or thought that, is that something I can do a second time?
Right.
I was like, I guess I need to start finding new ways to cover Forced Adversity. And I started kind of thinking, well, like different moral panics and stuff like that. And, then I kind of stuck all that in my back pocket, in my birthday pocket, because, hey,
your prison wallet,
house, prison. Somehow, some people roll like that, and that's okay.
Yeah,
we're not shaming here today.
No.
Or are we?
I'm not. I don't have the patience for that. That sounds a lot like work.
So, point being that Name decided, hey, I want to do this podcast. Morgan's going to be the co-host. Forced Adversity podcast. Okay. And then I don't even know if it was immediately that I realized it.
It was a little while. I think it was after we did our first couple of recordings that you were like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like, wait, the acronym is actually FAP. Holy shit.
And I was like, no, please don't. And then you did it anyways. I'm like, well, fine, here we are. This is my life now.
It is. But look, you're going to be a homeowner soon.
That's true.
So
yeah.
Can you really say it's not partly because you do a show called FAPcast? You can't say so.
I can't say it has nothing to do with it. No.
You're welcome. But yeah, so I was like, well, it's too bad that fapping doesn't have anything to do with the topic of the podcast. And I was like, wait a second. I mean, it does, in the sense that there are people and have been people historically that are very much against it.
Yeah, there's a lot of anti-masturbation individuals in the history of the world. And so that led us to FAP squared, the FAP.
Well, yeah, so FAP squared, here we are. We're fapping about fapping. And the thing is, though, it historically is a lot of people that were against it, but also right fucking now.
Right now.
And we're going to talk about those people too, which is going to kind of like bring us back into the current fucking dais.
Mm-hmm. It always comes back to that.
Scream at kids to get off your lawn. How you going to be,
See, I wouldn't scream at them. I have a system wherein I bribe them to go on someone else's lawn.
Good call. Somehow all the anti-fat movements in America go back to weird health cults from the 1800s and are connected. I mean, honestly, like, if we get through this election season, okay, and we don't have to do so much current fucking dais all the time, as we feel compelled to now, I think I want to look at some of the cults from like around, in the 1800s, 1900s even, but like, America is built on cults, man. People, myself being like, what's up with all these cults going on these days? These cults of personality and blah, blah, blah. It's like, really the only thing that's different is just they're online now.
Yeah. Like, so, and even like it's spread elsewhere. Like, you look at a lot of the stuff that influenced like Nazi philosophy. It all comes from, 19th century spiritualism. It's like, whoa.
Dumb.
What the fuck?
It's dumb. Let's see. Oh, I think I have some literature somewhere. I'll pull that up here in a second.
Is the literature? Do you just read the articles?
In the meantime, you should hit like if you're watching. If you're gaining anything out of this, even if you're gaining a feeling of like disgust and resentment, and how dare this fucking communist, fucking liberal, fucking radical leftist, fucking Antifa, BLM, fucking all those words that you don't really know what they mean, but you know they fucking not good. If you feeling anything like that, hit like or hit the down vote. I don't know. I don't fucking care, man. Just engage with this goddamn video, please.
If you like Dane's nuts or you want to hit him in the nuts, hit like. Hit a button. Pick one.
Yep. If you're just nuts, hit all the buttons.
Yeah. Go nuts.
So I mean, this is true, Reggie, but like it's also we are exceptional.
Exceptionally crazy.
Exceptionally crazy. Like we are founded on, you got to think the people that came to, this is the only country, I mean, of course the whole continent was generally started this way, but everything kind of congealed into the center mass. And like, it was just a bunch of people that were like, fuck all these crazy people. I want to go be a different crazy somewhere else.
Right. I need my own flavor of crazy.
And then they also like, they struck gold and shit. Like literally. Some of them. So, okay. I guess I didn't have my literature saved. I guess I got tired of looking at it when I was done. I was like, I don't want to look at this anymore. Ugh.
Oh, wow. That sort of. What do I want to know? Is this stuff Matt Walsh would approve of?
All right. So, first of all, let's talk about. Well, see how we're gonna do this. Yeah, there's a lot of offshoots here. There's lots of just like little bits shooting off here and there, all over the place. Like so much that you would need a black light to really see them all.
If you want to see them all.
Okay, so there is actually current fucking days a group called NoFap.
Yeah.
You might have seen them around. They have they have been around since June 20th, 2011.
They have a holiday. They've given themselves a month. They complain about Pride Month, but they gave themselves a month. And a month to do nothing.
November?
That is No Nut November.
Okay.
And it's a boring month because, like, oh, what do you do? Like, Pride Month, we all go out and do stuff. Or maybe not. Some of us don't. But
it's really like the opposite in every way, right?
Yeah, it's a do-nothing month. A do-nothing in a fun way.
But
like
also
read
be
a book.
ashamed of your natural, the ways you want to express yourself naturally.
Yeah,
the way be ashamed of your body and your sexuality and just like don't even fucking think about it, you sicko.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in what is it, June, the gays are having a good time.
We have a good time,
dancing and stuff. All right. So NoFap is a website and a community forum that serves as a support group for those who wish to give up pornography and masturbation. So there's two different kind of angles to this. There's different people within the NoFap movement that kind of have different purposes. I do believe one of them is maybe more valid than the other for sure. So the first one being just people that are addicted to pornography, or quote unquote addicted to pornography, and want to stop looking at it, which, if we can talk about it, if you guys feel like we should, it's up to you. But like addiction to pornography isn't a real thing.
Not any more than any other
chemically,
Yeah. Like if something gives your brains the feels good, you can, in theory, become addicted to it.
Right. Yeah. Like in the same way that, like, I mean, I've said before that I think that, chuds are addicted to the content that they consume. There's some of them anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do believe that it does have a similar effect overall, but it's not literally the same thing as being addicted to, a chemical or substance, right?
Right. There's some crossover behaviors.
It's behavioral addiction is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's those people that just want to, look, if you don't want to watch pornography anymore, don't watch it. There's a whole lot of stuff within that subgroup though, that like beliefs that are weird. And I don't know that there's anything to support some of it.
It does not seem to be.
Like it rots your brain and shit like that.
It comes from a lot of Petersonian types.
Yeah. Yeah. Or that, like, and there's even like maybe some potentially, I I don't believe it's really valid, but potentially valid leftist critique of pornography, and that it can be, you know, I mean, it is misogynistic, and by and large, there's more companies popping up these days, pitching a tent, you might say, these days, that are like very expressly about ethical, you know, intersectional, nothing fucking abusive or exploitative or whatever,
right?
Stuff like that, and that's, you know, if those things concern you, you should seek those out.
Yeah.
Is that somebody, one of your is that your parents or something calling you? Are you really talking about masturbating on the internet?
I think my mom watched one episode of this and then was like, I don't think I want to watch this, hon.
Not for mom.
And I'm like, well, that's your decision, mom.
So okay. So yeah, it's the name comes from the other reason is just people want to stop masturbating altogether, which there's some people that believe that also just basically liquefies your brain. It just leaks out your fucking ears or something. I don't know. We'll find out. While reasons for abstinence vary by individual, the main motivation cited is attempting to overcome addiction to pornography or other compulsive sexual behaviors. And really, there's nothing wrong at all with trying to rein in any kind of compulsive behaviors that you aren't happy that you do, or that literally affect your, you know, a healthy functioning daily life, in some negative way. But other reasons for abstinence include religious and moral reasons, self-improvement, physical beliefs that are not supported by medicine. You know, and yeah, the term FAP, it's a slang term for referring to male masturbation originally, but I think it's kind of you know, I like to think that it's cross-gender boundaries by now.
Yeah.
So the group's views and efforts to combat pornography addiction have been, and I'm using air quotes here, been criticized as simplistic, outdated, and incorrect by neuroscientists, psychologists, and other medical professionals. What do they know?
Yeah.
The purported science behind the group's activities is said to come from anti-porn activist Gary Wilson, an Oregon man. Oh man, one of my boys now. Damn.
Oh, you get to be the villain this week. Holy shit.
An Oregon man with no scientific training or background who has made a career peddling pseudoscience. So, as of January 6, 2024, the NoFap online community had more than 350,000 registered members. It's a lot of folks that just really probably should fapper once in a while if they want to.
Really, just yeah. Well, I think like I see how you get there, right? Like there's a social, like we already have, like even before the No Fap movement, we have sort of a cultural stigma about pornography. Just baked into our religious culture in America. But we don't provide the resources to like express those needs healthily. So when you're looking for a resource to stop, you're just going to pick whatever seems the most like your existing views on the subject.
Yeah. Yep. So if this isn't in my source here, the Kellogg's thing, I'm going to have to look into that because that's interesting.
Good old Kellogg.
See, so NoFap, founded in June 2011 by Pittsburgh web developer Alexander Rhodes after reading a thread on Reddit about a 2003 study, which was retracted in 2021 due to overlap with another published article in Chinese, which claimed that men who, I guess they crossed the streams there, which
God damn it,
claimed that men who refrain from masturbation for 7 days experience a 145.7% spike in testosterone levels on the 7th day. And therein you see, you might realize that there's certain elements of society that are going to come into play with some of this. The types of folks who are like oddly obsessive over their testosterone levels, as if it's some magical elixir that if they just have enough of it, they'll be like the perfect male or whatever.
Well, I think more importantly is the fear is being not having necessarily high testosterone, but not having low testosterone.
Right. Yep, there you go.
Even though if you have, low testosterone and you increase it by 90%, then you have low testosterone, but I would love to see the math on that. Just like, how did you test for that? And what's the demographics you tested and all those fun things?
We should talk about something like, snake oil salesman and the humors and stuff and like old school medicine grift.
Oh, you want me to do old school? Oh, we're going to do a historical FAP? You want me?
I mean, not right now, but like at some point, once you're all tucked in your new place and everything, sure.
I'm getting all sweaty down there, Dane. A little hot and bothered. Just got.
That's what does it for you right there, huh?
Oh, dirty shit.
Whoops. So that hit the front page of a popular forum on Reddit. Website states that NoFap participants aim to improve their interpersonal relationships, do a challenge of willpower to seize control of your sexuality and turn it into superpowers. But
that's overselling it, right? Like you could convince me that there are health benefits to not masturbating. You could convince me of that. Sure. You can't convince me it gives you superpowers.
No. I mean, but the thing too is that like I know from firsthand and secondhand, both hands experience.
It's that
so big. So I was briefly locked up in not a prison but in a local jail years and years ago for a few weeks, and it was really shitty. But the first thing that you lose your freedom, obviously, and that includes freedom to fap, because if they catch you fapping, you get a sexual assault charge in there. That's crazy, but that's the way it is apparently. At least in Texas. So
Texas.
Yeah, it makes sense in Texas actually. I guess I see why they're crazy.
Yeah.
But like, so I was in a dorm kind of situation with like 48 total guys. Like it's all one big open dorm, and then a bunch of beds laid out. There's probably 3 feet between each bed. When you go to sleep at night, you're hearing 40 dudes farting and snoring and grinding their teeth. It's terrible.
Right.
And so you don't have not only do you not have an opportunity, why the hell would you want to in that condition? And so this is really the first and only time I think since I became a young man where it just didn't happen. So several weeks go by, and I hate to be too graphic, but like it was hard to sit down. I'll say that.
You get a little pent up.
A little swollen, a little hard to sit down, and it was like I did not know that was a thing that happened, but you literally can get so backed up that happens, and it's like you got if for no other reason than maintenance, you kind of have to. I think sometimes I feel
I think the biological need to masturbate is to get technical on it is that for guys you keep producing. Your testes just keep putting shit out, right? They don't stop.
It is our biological imperative, apparently, that we're supposed to just like skeet all over the place. And,
so like that shit's got to go somewhere.
It's got to, apparently, yeah. So I mean, that taught me a very important lesson. Thankfully, after like that happened, and it was like so bad that it was hard to sit down for a day, I got out like the next day. So that was like, whew.
That's good.
You don't want me to tell the story about what happened when I got out. I'm not going to tell that story. I don't care unless you go and you subscribe or follow me on Patreon right now. I will tell that story in great detail. But yeah. So let's see. Oh, so this is not just a thing that males do, men do. There's also what are colloquially referred to as femstronauts. And I was trying to figure that out. It's like it doesn't explain it here, but like I guess the knots, as in like not NAUT,
Oh,
like not fapping. I don't femstronauts. I guess that's the best I can. So, yeah, but the website is mostly commonly associated with men seeking to quit porn. There are a minority of females who are users of the website as well. Alexander Rhodes has estimated that 5% of participants are women. Wow.
And that's the founder of the website?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the expression FAP is an automatopoeia internet slang term for male masturbation that first appeared in the 1999 webcomic Sexy Losers to indicate the sound of, that. And by the way, the acronym PMO, it stands for porn, masturbation, orgasm. That's what they're trying to abstain from, PMO.
So like all three of those things, you can't look at porn because you want to see the art. You can't masturbate independently of porn, and you can't have sex.
Well, because in their minds, there's only one reason to do any of these things. Apparently,
so there it is. All right, we got back to weirdos.
So yeah, the Rhodes appeared in a documentary written and directed by Nicholas Tana called "Sticky: A Self-Love Story." In which he discusses his findings and his opinions about masturbation. After this, he created NoFap as a subreddit forum community on Reddit. The endeavor is sometimes referred to as Fapstinence.
I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Users on NoFap subreddit more than tripled in number in 2 years, leading Rhodes to build an off-Reddit forum at nofap.com. So yeah, 2014 internet survey found that 99% of followers are male. Surprising. The membership of NoFap ranges from atheists like founder Rhodes to fundamentalist Christians. It's funny how they just find themselves in the same situation eventually. Some of these people, like,
I wonder what the propensity of atheists in that group who come from like a Christian family. Like, I wonder what level of like baked in cultural Christianity is in those people.
It's definitely probably some of them, but like I can actually see how you could get there without it. You can get to that state of mind because you basically, like, if you are all about rationality and I was like that at one point where it's like, I'm all about rationality now, but I also understand what I can't understand and can't know. Unlike back in the day. So like, if you see yourself as like, I am in control of my, only I have willpower and control over my existence and no outside force or whatever. And, then I need to take control of it. I can see the logic that kind of might lead some of these guys there. And, but there probably is some, some of that too, for sure. The little bit of leftover Christian stain.
It's
little white stain of Christianity.
Right. little Christianity left in your sock.
Yeah. That crusty Christianity sock. So yeah, okay, so this is all out of order in a weird way. So yeah, they're called Fapstronauts. I don't know why I told you about Femstronauts first. Anyway, they're NoFappers, Fapstinent. Yeah. Some self-described porn addicts seek out NoFap for help, while others join the website for the challenge to improve their lives and interpersonal relationships. It is possible, I think, to be so into porn that you ruin a relationship. I think that happens.
I've known people who are way too into porn, that it is like bad for their social and financial situation.
Yep.
But in the same way, I've known that for people
financial
who buy...
situation? Are they spending money on it?
Yeah.
Oh God. Do they not know that's free all over the place?
They were spending money on something. I don't know if it was
cam girls. I know what the thing. It's like, basically, if you're the kind of person that will,
OnlyFans,
if you click on the ads, I can definitely see OnlyFans. It does, it's a good thing overall, I believe, but there's also some, like anything, you got to watch out for the downsides of things if you're a consumer of anything. But like, there's so much free porn on the internet. It's, there's stats I could rattle off. Other podcasts I listen to called Time Suck with Dan Cummins. It's actually a really cool podcast. He's very he comes with the facts, hard and fast. He's shooting them off just left and right. Okay, but yeah, it's he rattled off the stats about porn and like how many porn websites there are, how many people generally are estimated to consume porn on a daily basis in America and in the world, and it's just like, wow, everybody's kind of doing it, okay. You should support independent creators 100%. Content creators. There's porn that's like out there that's like been out on the internet for decade plus, and it's made by some fucking studio that, I'm not worried about that too much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we're not going to get into the ethics of piracy today.
Yeah.
That's for another week.
I would not pirate anything from OnlyFans, because those are people who generally do everything themselves
for a living.
Yep. Let's see here. Okay, so the advocacy of NoFap can be summarized as 90 days of abstinence from porn, masturbation, and orgasms. Study of anti-porn attitudes among Polish internet users found that despite the suggestive name, the official goal of the NoFap movement is not to encourage complete abstinence from masturbation, but to support internet users in the process of refraining from accessing pornographic materials and achieving various well-being goals related to sexual health. Which, I mean, yeah, like if you're a single person and you just you're fapping like 4, 5, 6 times a day, and then you're like, man, why can't I meet anybody? I can't, well, it's probably because you're fucking wearing your drive down. Like, you have nothing left that motivates you after that point, because you do need a little bit of that backed up to kind of like motivate you sometimes. Like, but also you can't replace a relationship with porn. Right.
They're different. And I know people who have very healthy relationships who use pornography. And I know those, I know healthy relationships where nobody watches pornography, or where one partner does and the other doesn't. And, or
they watch it together.
People are different, right? There's
increasingly people make it together now.
Yeah. That's a whole thing.
Which, that's cool. That's cool. People that are like, feel like people want to see them naked that much. Good on them.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see. Okay, so political and religious motivation. What political? What are you talking about? According to various sources, the overwhelming majority of all websites and YouTube channels devoted to anti-masturbation, anti-porn addiction, propaganda channels and websites supporting NoFap are owned by far-right religious fundamentalists and conservatives who are biblical inerrantists. What is? I've never seen that word. Have I?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to bring it up because this doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, it's nice to get a new word on the show. Oh, biblical inerrancy. So it means it's without error. They're biblical literalists. They're those people, yeah.
Yikes. Why don't you go dash some babies on rocks then, buddy?
Well, I mean, we could talk about how that's what they want to do to migrant Christians in Texas.
Yeah, yikes. No good. Okay. Well, some of them are also entirely political in nature. The NoFap community is sometimes viewed to be part of the manosphere, online groups credited with propagating misogyny.
That's a
psychologists
polite way of putting it.
I mean, like online groups credited with. I mean, you mean blamed for, guilty of? Maybe would be.
Yeah. There's. We could put it some other ways.
Psychologists, MDs, and social scientists noticed that the traditional Christian obsession with combating sexual activities, including masturbation, which we'll get into, is unhealthy and unwholesome. That's right. Being against masturbating is unwholesome. This also applies to secular advocacy of anti-porn and anti-masturbation, including 16 U.S. states legislatures which have declared that pornography is a public health crisis. What?
That's wild to me. That to me just screams like too much time on my hands, right? Like
somebody found a political pet project in 16 states. And,
yep.
You know, the American Psychiatric Association had by then already dismissed such moral panic. There it is.
There it is.
As a political stunt in DSM-5, published in 2013, and DSM-5-TR, published in March 2022. Does not recognize a diagnosis of sexual addiction, which would include internet pornography viewing. Neither ICD-10 nor ICD-11 recognize sex addiction or porn addiction as a valid diagnosis. Yeah, I mean, I wonder what those same states have done about any of these things, right? Like,
made them worse.
Oh, you at the weed store? Fuck yeah.
Hey, cool beans.
Good weed.
Enjoy.
We need to redo the weed thing. Drugs episode, I think.
Yeah,
right?
We could stand to do some more drugs.
We actually recorded a good bit of it, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
I have to listen back to that and see how it went. Therapist Paula Hall for the Huffington Post was asked about NoFap claims of physical health benefits, mentioned including renewed energy, greater focus, concentration, and better sleep. I mean, I literally know that there have been times whenever I could not sleep, and a nice, just rubbing one out for the Sandman was the way to go.
I'm so sorry. That one got me. That's the first one that's really got me. Been trying so hard.
So yeah, this therapist says that there's little medical evidence for any of these changes. I mean, there's probably there's definitely anecdotal stuff where I'm sure something has taken place where, like, I mean, if you're spending like 7 hours a day sitting in front of the computer fucking wanking, and then you don't do that, you might have a little more energy, I would think. You might feel like doing other stuff. That I don't think that those things are just like, but that would be the same if you're like sitting in front of your computer petting your cat for 7 hours.
Yeah, just sitting for 7 hours in general, probably not something you should do.
True.
If you work in an office, you shouldn't sit there for 8 hours a day. You should get up and stretch.
We fapping. Like, yeah, we really fapping.
We fapping squared.
Or are we no fapping?
Yeah, I mean,
let's find out. No, I think we've already blown the load here. It's a lot of right wingers are into this shit, or rather not into this shit. But I mean, it's like this ideology that comes along with it, and that nothing a directionless, kind of confused, probably emotionally undeveloped, possibly mentally ill, usually white man loves more than a fucking stupid ideology to attach himself to.
Oh, they love it.
They love that shit.
It gets them so hard. Or so not hard.
It gets them hard, and they feel really bad about it and try to not think about it. Like, I'm going to play video games. Psychology. Wait, oops. Robert Weiss for the Huffington Post sees NoFap as part of a tech backlash, which is an interesting angle. The endeavor has also been criticized as generating embarrassing side effects. Such as prolonged erections in men or an excessive libido. So, like, you can't even go to work because you just got, you're standing at full mast.
You're standing at attention. Yeah, you can't sit down at work if you're standing at attention that much.
Let's see. Psychologist David Lay wrote, I'm not in opposition to them, but I do think their ideas are simplistic, naive, and promote a sad, reductionist, and distorted view of male sexuality. Like, what a fucking term, man. I'm not against them, but they're just like really pathetic motherfuckers.
They're really sad. They're really, really sad guys.
Distorted view of male sexuality and masculinity, and I get that too. He criticizes NoFap supporters as amateurs who are using bad data. Imagine that. Another thing right-wing dudes love.
They love they can't help themselves sometimes with the bad sources. It's just like, really, that's your okay.
Sure. And extrapolations on weak science to argue that porn has a disproportionate effect on the brain and claim that porn use causes erectile dysfunction. I think if anything, porn might cause desensitization.
Right. I think that's the correlation and the causation, right? The porn doesn't cause erectile dysfunction, but if you're whacking it all the time, it's just going to be less.
It's like you turn it on the porn and you're like, well, I remember whenever I used to get hard as a rock, and now it's nothing. It's just, bloop, like, well, yeah, man. It's like, too many movies in a franchise or something,
Right.
It's like by the time you get to the third Matrix sequel or whatever, it's just like, yeah, okay, all right, get it. It's not the same.
Okay, but the third Matrix sequel was the best Matrix sequel.
Well, okay, it's the second best one. You can't say it's better than the first one. Come on.
Well, sequel. It's not better than the original.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
The third best Matrix sequel is the third Matrix sequel is the best Matrix sequel.
I agree. Man, there's some people, if you look around, that people really hate that movie.
That makes me like it more.
I'm like, oh, so you're probably one of the ones that was saying, fuck you don't own this. Too.
Right.
Or if you think you do, then you probably have a wrong idea of it. Leia stated that the website is a continuation of anti-masturbation movements from the past, such as Swiss doctor Samuel Tissot's 18th century claims that masturbation was an illness that weakened the male spirit and led to immorality.
Why is there this is the thing, right? Why is there all immorality? Like, why is there always immorality, right? Like you're gonna lose me on that, right? Oh, it's immoral and it weakens you. Well, okay, how are that's convenient. Those are the same thing every time.
Not to get too sidetracked here, but like I don't hate them. Actually, I generally find plenty to like about them when I do watch them. What I feel like is that they are in various ways. It didn't create a trilogy that is evenly exciting or as compelling of a narrative. I think they tried different things in the sequels that some worked, some didn't. I think the main problem with the sequels is that the first one was so fucking successful and was essentially just like a
standalone.
It could have worked, but like the studio was like, oh, here's a shitload of money. Now get us 2 movies out within 6 months of each other.
Right. It's that it didn't have enough time to cook, and that I don't know that it was set up for a sequel. Like Star Wars, right? Star Wars, like, okay, well, we defeated the Death Star, but like, there's still a whole fucking empire we know about.
Well, I think it actually was set up in the exact same way. I feel like because they haven't defeated the Matrix. All Neo is like, the last thing we see is him calling him and saying, "Hey, y'all are fucked," and then he flies to Rage Against the Machine. It's like there is a promise of more to come there. You know what I mean?
That's
so
fair.
I mean, I feel like it's just as much of that as there is in A New Hope. But like, yeah, I wish they could have had more time and also just like an inherent problem to it, because if you remember watching The Matrix for the first time and then you realize what it's about, because there's like a twofold mind fuck in that movie.
Yeah,
like what the plot is literally about is a bit of a mind fuck, or at least it was in 1999. And then also just like the visual effects of it and like how that interacts with how the plot creates that imagery, right?
Yeah.
And those two things are that's what I loved about it. But like once you've already blown that load,
there's not anything there.
The second and third time, it's not much you can do that's gonna it's gonna be real hard to recapture that level of like holy shit that the first one had. Anyway,
you're never gonna hit that. Anyway, we can get back. We can get
back to Fapping. Maybe we could talk about my opposition to the Matrix sequels in an episode sometime.
Sure.
I don't oppose them.
Yeah, I don't really have an opposition. I just they're fine. They're movies.
I had a friend years ago that was like, he would defend the ever loving shit out of them, and he would do it very well. He's a very smart guy, and he would like, he liked to watch it with people and like talk about it after and just like explain to you. He would even pause it like douchebag and like be like, this is why, this is, a lot of people don't realize this, that kind of guy.
Oh, cool.
But I mean, honestly, he made some really strong cases. Like I went through a phase where I did appreciate them a lot more.
I've never hated them. It's just they're fine.
I will say this: there's a for being early 2000s, they prioritized women, people of color
Yeah, it's a
actors.
really diverse cast.
Yep. You know, it was trying to represent something a little bit low key revolutionary, so to speak, at the time. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of
In
white
ways-
folks on TV.
Yeah.
Movies. So I think I've got a sciatic nerve issue. It sucks.
Uh-oh.
Maybe wanking will help it. No. So here's where we get into what who was it that was mentioning it earlier? I don't remember. The Kellogg thing. So it weakens the male spirit and leads to immorality. American doctor Benjamin Rush, who claimed that masturbation caused blindness. So that's where that started. I'm sure
That's
you've
where
all
that
heard
comes
that.
from.
Everybody's heard that one.
Everyone's
you'll
heard
go
that,
blind.
Bernard.
And W.K. Kellogg, who developed cornflakes as part of his anti-masturbation effort.
Cornflakes are supposed to be so bland you won't jerk off.
What? And he looks exactly. Oh my god,
He looks like you think he would.
Oh my god, this guy escaped my fucking view all this time. Like,
oh, you haven't seen Kellogg before? Yeah, he looks exactly.
Don't you think about it? I
dare.
disapprove of what you're doing right now,
Young man.
He's the Frederick Wortham of jerking it.
He is the Frederick Wortham of jerking it.
Holy shit.
In fact, that might be an insult to Frederick Wortham.
You mean against their will? Because that's kind of like explicitly stated that that's not something they do. That you have to kind of find your way to the understanding that it's not the real world and want out before they will get you out.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, also eugenicist. Oh.
Yeah, he's not a great guy.
Is that true? Holy shit! Why have I not heard of this?
Oh, I haven't. Have I heard? Oh, I have heard of the movie. I have not seen it, but I have heard of it.
You know, that's true. It did feel like kind of like a Scream movie a bit.
It's very. I mean, it is very, very meta, and it's unapologetically meta.
This fucking guy right here. Don't you do it. All right.
I think that was the plan, Harlan. It was supposed to be so bland it killed your sexual desire.
Will Keith Kellogg. Holy shit. Oh, Seventh-day Adventist.
Mm-hmm.
He also founded the Kellogg Arabian Ranch, which breeds Arabian horses. So he had some kind of weird shit going on about who could come and who couldn't.
Right.
People couldn't, horses could, I guess.
Well, and I think you get a guy with enough money, I think, as history will show, eventually that guy will turn into some either anti-porn weirdo or must breed harder weirdo, and there's no middle ground. That just seems to be.
Yeah, we'll look into that for sure. Another time. Let's see. He died at the age of 91 after not jacking off his whole life. That's crazy. No, it doesn't say that. Okay, so then we get to some more studies. So a 2021 qualitative study found that NoFap's approach to pornography appears to be harmful. Specifically, the scientists studied members of the online NoFap / porn-free self-help communities and concluded commitment to abstinence framed by the notions of recovery and relapse was found to be a major factor for maintaining distress. I would argue, and this is not anything to do with anything, that is true for some when it comes to just addiction recovery. Seems to be, from my experience, what I've seen. Let's see. 2021 research article concluded with a warning saying that the mythical articulations that emerged from contestations over concepts like NoFap have the potential to galvanize young men into horrific real-world violence. When has that ever happened?
Let me just start listing school shootings.
Yeah, it's not funny.
No, it's not. I'm not joking.
I know, but I set it up as like it was a joke. And you're like,
yeah, I know. Unfortunately, there's like, what's the punchline to that joke? You're not late, Bob. You arrived exactly when you meant to. You're a wizard.
Whoa. That's what I pictured you could do. You pictured you going, whoa.
All right, then. But I think with how they moralize it, right, that it does add stress to it in a way that if it wasn't moralized, if it was just like, yes, you as a person think you are jerking off too much and it is bad for your time management and your social relationships, maybe your job or whatever, you would like to do that less. I think that's a perfectly good health concern as a human being. I think when you add this moral element to, oh, it's a moral failing that you want to jerk off at all.
Yeah. You should be above such impulses, right? Like, as if you don't understand that humans are biological creatures driven by biological, physiological impulses.
Right.
Like,
we're meat robots.
You might as well be like, oh, fuck, I'm hungry again. Oh, I'm such a piece of shit. You know? I'm sure there are people that do that. And
there are diet programs that are like that are like, it kind of treat it that way. I know some people who have been, we touched on it last week with Jordan Peterson's like carnivore diet movement. I think carnival because he's a clown. But that like moralize wanting carbs is like, no, you have a body and a metabolism and it wants things. It's not a moral failing that your body would like things. That's just called being an animal.
It's not a big deal, guys.
It's not a big deal. Like, yes, I understand that you want to control it and that's healthy to control, but it is not you're not a bad person if you got to have some crackers with your meat. It's fine. A carnival diet would be fun. It's just all fucking funnel cake and corn dogs.
You have to listen to fucking carnival music while you do it.
That's optional.
But actually, I do have a thing here related to what we were just talking about there. See if it's loading now. Is it loaded? Is it loaded? Are you loaded?
Loading.
Fill up that sack. Let's.
It's a fat load. We're cooking a fat load, folks. I mean, you could have some popcorn and cotton candy at in the carnival diet too.
Oh, but by the way, I know we're not doing a politics stream this week. But there's kind of a bit of a crossover just in case anybody had missed the last couple of weeks of the show.
Do not come.
No. You realize how messed up that sounds, right?
Do not come.
Wait.
I'm just gonna come as hard as I can.
Come.
She ain't gonna tell me when to come.
She did
not to. I mean, she can tell me, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna listen.
Right.
Unless she says it directly to me, and she's like, Dane, don't come. I'll be like, yes, ma'am. Just because it is, kind of related. I really, not like I thought it was impossible or doubted it was possible or anything, but I was watching her responding to very, not like directly responding to it, but everybody knew what she was talking about. The bullshit Trump said the other day about her turning black.
Yeah.
She was responding to it and like, holy shit, she looked presidential as fuck.
She's ready for the job.
I mean, she is. It's kind of impressive. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's really impressive. I just didn't. I don't know. I guess I remember kind of thinking she wasn't so presidential the last time I really paid attention to her speak. But like, yeah, that's another episode. We'll talk. We can do the forced adversity on why the Biden administration kept her on the fucking sidelines for 4 years.
I think the thing is she's been doing things. Like if you look at what she's been up to, it's out there. You can find it. It's just that, like a lot of Democrat related things, they just kind of like show up to work and do their job like a normal person.
Mamala. Yeah. I mean, so that's true. She has been doing stuff, but also there's apparently some reports from within the administration that they actually were keeping her kind of like away from, cameras and public speaking events and stuff because she would draw too much attention to how fucking old he is. Right. And I guess now they can say that kind of thing because it's like, well,
right now. And even then, my opinion on Biden being old has been and always will be. We knew that. We
knew that, and we also knew she was the second in command. And I think that there was a lot of people that over the 4 years we kind of like became. I think most people, if you had to come to terms with how fucking old he is,
right?
In our private thoughts,
yeah,
and then think, well, if he dies, yeah, she'd be fine. I think she'd be okay. You know what I mean? So like we're kind of already primed for it, I think. Anyway, oh my god. Are you saying that the turning Japanese is not racist?
Wasn't already racist? That was my first thought. I'm like, wait, that's already racist, right? Like, I'm not crazy.
Pretty sure I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. Like,
I'm pretty sure that's already racist. Like,
yeah.
I think we got there already.
All right. It does look like that. It does. Anyways, let's see. 2020 study found that while NoFap claimed to be science-based, the more that NoFap followers believed that they should abstain from masturbation, the more they also reported lower trust in science. Wow.
There it is.
Social psychologists Taylor and Jackson, who analyzed the content of NoFap forums, concluded in their study that some NoFap participants not only rejected pornography, but also radical feminist critiques of pornography. Weird. Like, why
Which
would
is
you not?
wild, because that's something they should agree on, right? That because the radical feminist position on pornography is that it's bad.
It's like, I may not want to jerk off to porn, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to,
abuse women. Right? Yeah, I still want to be shitty to women.
Like, I don't want to watch that guy like choking her out in that video, but like, I'm glad he's doing it.
Right? Yeah. It's not that I don't want him to choke her. It's that I don't want to get hard to that.
Right. Then I might feel bad. But like, good job, bro. Like,
yeah,
all right.
It's
I don't know.
So
I'm trying to
fucked up. It's just so fucked.
They also stated that members of NoFap frequently utilized and redeployed familiar hegemonic masculine views, such as men as dominant seekers of pleasure and women as the natural suppliers of this pleasure. It's a very fucking shitty, harmful, goddamn thought to hold.
Yeah, that's not good.
If you see things this way, you are wrong. You are not seeing over 50% of the population as a human being. That
and like,
is just...
even if you are that level of hedonist, right? If you are that level of selfish hedonist, and I think that's what it is, right? Like, if I'm being perfectly mean about it, and I am, like that, if you see your relationship with the woman purely as about your pleasure and needs, it's way more fun and pleasurable for both of you if you're both pleasuring each other. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, that might be worth discussing. Is like, there's the idea that like, what? Oh my God! That what a weird song to come up then. There is some elements of feminist critique of pornography that I've heard strong arguments from women who create. I'll just say who it is. It's you know who Merrick DeVille is?
I've heard the name, but I don't know who she is personally.
She's a very, very well known on Twitter now. Sometimes troll, but often always a sex positive sex worker advocate.
Nice.
Advocates she's addiction awareness and things like that. And like, so a couple of years ago, about within like 2020 or so, I found a video of hers where she was talking about, just came across it randomly. She was talking about how people should carry was it naloxone for overdoses?
Yeah.
Talking about Merrick. Yeah. And you know, and I was like, man, no leftists really talk about that. And that's a really cool thing that she's like just saying, hey, here's where you can maybe get some for free. Keep it in your car. You never know. You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, that is a really cool thing to do. So I told her that, and I ended up having her on to talk to her. We recorded like a 4-hour conversation.
Damn.
I don't know if I still have that somewhere, but like, I mean, I learned a lot in that conversation. Just like, you know, she explaining what it's like to be, you know, I learned in fact about how Kamala Harris played a role in a large role in shutting down Backpage, which had a negative effect on sex workers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that was right before she really blew up on Twitter, and you know, then she got too big for me.
Right.
That's okay.
It happens to the best of us.
She's a really fucking good troll, though. Like, they're dudes. Misogyny makes dudes fucking crazy. Like, to see the way they will respond to her just saying a pretty simple thing sometimes, knowing that it's from a hot sex worker leftist.
Right. They don't really appreciate that very much.
Yeah, they lose it. Anyways. Yeah. In turn, this reproduces societal expectations of gendered sexual dominance and submission. Not cool.
No.
I mean, only cool if that's her kink and she specifically wants it and consents to it, and you safe words and all that stuff. Another 2020 study stated that the forum represents itself as a source of medical information. Not good. Which seems to discourage members from seeking actual medical advice and instead self-diagnosing. Not good.
And cult behavior. And that's always something you should kind of be on the look when someone is telling you online even if you're going to something like WebMD or Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic online for to look up what the symptoms of a condition are. Even going to a professional resource, you should not diagnose yourself. If you are that concerned, there are places you can call to get better information and better help, cheap or free, even, you know, with our shitty healthcare system in America. You should not turn to Facebook book groups and web forums for medical advice. That's not good. And a medical professional will never tell you to do that.
Yeah, when has a doctor or something ever been like, yeah, just get on Facebook or whatever? They'll tell you what to do. So this is interesting. I want to read this next part and see if any of this sounds familiar. A 2020 study analyzing discourse on pornography published in the journal Social Forces stated regarding NoFap, these claims do not necessarily come from scientific experts. Instead, we find that newspaper articles draw from a variety of professionals who are not scientists, and that Rhodes is quoted repeatedly, reflecting that he was addicted to internet porn and shares the personal consequences. They conclude, journalists and political actors are overextending scientific findings to advance their media markets and political agendas in support of gender and sexual norms. It's like
where does that figure into it? Like, here's my question, right? If you know you're pretending to be an expert, right, or claiming to be an expert, let's steel ban it, we'll steel bot it. You claim to be an expert, and you're saying it's that porn does these things. Like, what's your data on that? Because there might be, right? I can be convinced that you might have some data, but I'm gonna want to see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, here's this thing, by the way.
Carnivore diet will fix that.
The what, sorry?
The carnivore diet will fix that.
Look, I like meat. I'm pro meat. I don't think the carnivore diet is going to fix this particular issue. I think
my wife had an injury of 40 years, and it resolved in 2 years on the carnivore diet.
You could just eat steak or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
all beef.
Sure. I'm a pro. I like meat, but I think this is a. I think I'll probably need an operation or something. But anyway.
I tried the carnivore diet first.
Sure.
Anyways, that did happen to her.
Okay.
She couldn't lift her left arm above here. It took 40 years, and in 2 years it resolved.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was something to see. It also rejuvenated her physically in a variety of different ways that were quite miraculous to watch.
Yeah.
And that hasn't stopped. So that's a weird thing, and I would have never believed it if I hadn't seen this, because it's so preposterous. It's so preposterous. It's so preposterous. It's so preposterous.
Sure.
So one thing I want to say is when Elon says I like meat, all it reminds me of is Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing where he goes, I like beer, and I don't know who I should be more like apologize to. I feel like I owe one of them an apology. I just don't know which one. Just like, one of you I need to apologize to, but I don't.
I don't think you owe them anything.
That's probably for the best.
But like, what struck me there is how crazed Jordan Peterson looks when he's really like. And also, I realized this is like the 4th or 5th or 6th time I've seen that clip, and I only just now realized he's talking about banging his wife. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh,
I see it.
rejuvenated her physically in a variety of ways. It was miraculous. It's like, oh God, Jordan. No,
I am going to refrain from commenting on that because no good will come of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Peterson having sex, no good will come of that either. Evil might come, but no good.
Well, I mean, look, a lot of evil in the world, and a lot of like, let's just say a lot of white nationalism, anti-Semitism these days. I'm glad that we are taking time away from politics to do this.
Just do this, yeah. It's
so
good.
We don't have to worry about any of that shit. So a 2020 paper stated that NoFap appears to have been specifically targeted by far-right groups, writing the struggle for the remasculinization of white men by overcoming porn had to be an anti-Semitic one, a fight against Jewish pornography and Jewish filth, in which other current anti-porn actors such as NoFap should join. Did y'all see that coming? Or see it coming?
Yeah.
I set that up because yes, it is definitely, there is an element of that. It's kind of like I don't know if anybody, there's a lot of people that have no idea. Let's talk about this for just 1 second.
Sure.
If we win in November,
sure,
MAGA might die. You know what I mean? Like, there's a good chance MAGA will be basically done.
I think that in the short term, we will have a fracturing of that movement simply because there's a good chance, independent of any criminal repercussions that he faces, that he should have faced by now anyways, without the interference of certain people in the judiciary he put there for that purpose.
Right.
That he will just be incapable of running. He will be an 80-something. It'll be right. Biden was an 81-year-old guy. Trump is, I think, is 2 years younger than him. So be
campaign in a row, and you can tell watching him, like he's feeling it.
Yeah,
like he's not what he used to be. Which, that's saying something. If we're saying that whatever got him elected was a positive in some context, then he doesn't have that very much anymore at all.
No.
But what my point is that if we manage to and they don't fucking steal it, because they're going to try.
I mean, Elon Musk's already trying now to steal it with his. Did you hear about this?
No, I don't think so.
His PAC put up a website to help people register to vote. And if they're in certain states, it is deceptively set up to make you think that you are registering to vote, but you don't actually register to vote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super scummy behavior. So I hope that website popped up last week. I hope this week it is that the feds are all in his butt.
I mean, the thing is that the January 6th this time is going to be protracted and every day for months.
If there is going to be a violent January 6th like event, it is going to be every moment starting election day until is stopped. And even if they are able to take the White House, it still won't stop until they are stopped.
Well, yeah, that's illegal. You can't tell someone that you're registering them to vote.
Yeah. It's
and
very
then
illegal.
Not actually do that, especially in particular if you're doing it in favor of one party. Because you're doing in certain states that are known for being voting a certain way or something like that, right? Yeah, that's really fucked up.
It's very shady. And yeah,
but
I hope he faces consequences for it.
What I'm trying to get to is that when you think about, rewriting Ripley and what we know from that and various other, from, my fucking content, what we know about how much there's been intentional effort, you talk about Milo Yiannopoulos and Breitbart and Steve Bannon and how they did with their shit with Gamergate, that, and then there's going to be a lot of people that have no idea how far these motherfuckers went to try to make this shit happen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in this context, the cultural effort, right?
Right.
Like, because the cultural effort is one part of it. And then there's also the actual, the literal effort of electioneering.
Right.
And so many people will have no idea that it's deep, the fucking sprawl of it, man.
These guys tried to move heaven and earth to steal the election the last time. And they rely on people to sort of bring it back to, put it back in the hole.
But I mean, this shit is what this, and then, Gamergate, Comicsgate, Phantom Menace, all this was like what they had to do to get people willing to support these efforts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know that they could have done any of this shit that they're trying to do if oh God.
No, I don't think they would have had the success they had without these sorts of groups that are inherently antisocial. Because
I intentionally used the sprawl. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
No problem. I think that it very quickly turns to blaming women, right? Every time. And that it is easy to be conspiratorial when it's like, oh, wow, all of these movements have this weird moral component to them, to an issue that isn't really a moral issue. And then also they all turn to these anti-women talking points, these anti-feminist talking points.
Yep.
And it's easy to be conspiratorial about that. But I think what it is that these sorts of groups are primed to be taken advantage of by misogynists. Even if the people didn't sign up because they were misogynists.
Yeah, the conditions
drive them in that direction.
Some of the conditions in which these things arise are because of our economic system and government. Some of them, there are conditions created for that by those that make it far more possible for grifters to come along, and your Andrew Tates and your Jordan Petersons and whatever the fucks, and kind of take these guys' heads and go,
right,
fucking shake them up like a snow globe. Oh shit, huh. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's fucking proudly said it. I think he's in prison now, though, for the time being.
Yeah,
that's cool. Hope nothing bad happens to him in there. I bet he's gonna come out and he's gonna have like an army of fucking prisoners that are just like his cult. That son of a bitch.
It depends on where he is. Because I think I think he was charged in New York State. I don't think it was federal crimes that got him, because I think he was pardoned of his federal crimes.
So I'm saying he's that powerful, man. No, I don't think he has that anymore. I think he got really lucky, with in a few ways.
I heard the minority blaming Bill Hunn is real bad right now in the UK. I've heard the word pogrom tossed around a lot this week, and I haven't had a chance to look into it. So that's God's, I hope
fucking
not.
Emma Vigilant in a video I watched yesterday. was talking about what she thinks, and this is kind of how like I had already been thinking about whether or not like, oh, I wonder if MAGA might just go away or whatever, because that is what the Republicans are rallied behind right now, and that's if it's the only thing that could get to anything to rally behind apparently, but if Trump's gone, if Trump's out of it, they're gonna try to just replace him.
Yeah,
like, oh, we just need another guy like this. It's not gonna work. Like a lot of the people that fucking latched onto Trump probably will never engage politically again.
No, and I think I think one of the reasons we've seen the predictions and the trends on how voting works fail is like, oh, they expected a lot of red voters in several of the recent midterm elections, and it just didn't materialize. And I think that's because there's people who don't vote Republican, they vote for Trump.
Right. So Emma said that she sees our right wing, like basically what you said, that there'll be a bit of chaos as people try to figure out, what's our next move. There's going to be the grifters that try to just keep a grift going out of it, and then there's going to be probably your Mitt Romneys and your Liz Cheney's and stuff that like try to do some kind of legitimate conservative party again out of the ashes. But like what it's probably going to end up being, no matter what, eventually is much more like the UK's right-wing parties now, where they're just like immigration focused. You know what I mean? Like, and Trump was that. He kind of came to prominence on that. But like, I think it's going to get more.
They're going to become more of a culture war party, and even more than they already are now.
But I feel like maybe they'll kind of abandon some of the going after Americans thing a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. And who knows?
See, I think the I don't know. We'll see.
Because the climate refugees are only going to increase,
right?
Like it's going to have to just be, Bill. It gets scary here sometimes, man. I'm in Portland, Oregon, where literally fucking unidentifiable federal troops working for Trump came to town in 2020, and we're just snatching people off the fucking streets into vans. That was fucking scary.
I read an article. So you remember during the BLM protests in DC when Trump rolled out the Bureau of Prisons? Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah.
A report. Government reports take so long. One finally came out on that, and according to the article, anyways, is the reason for that was because their riot uniforms don't have names on them.
Yeah.
Like actual SWAT police would.
Well, it turns out most of the guys that ended up in Portland that didn't have any identifiable agency were fucking border guys.
Yeah, it was Border Patrol, yeah.
That's fucking crazy, like, and that's exactly the kind of shit that, Trump wants to be immune from, and more. Like that was just him kind of like dipping his fingers in,
Yeah, that was him stretching.
That was him getting his dick a little wet, if we're just staying on topic here. Ew. Oh.
Getting his little toad, his little mushroom toad.
Oh
gods.
Oh boy. You have riots scheduled for next month? That's kind of seems anti-riot.
That sounds like a terrorist attack, not a riot.
Yeah. And if so, you shouldn't be maybe saying that right here. Anyway. So yeah, the Jewish pornography and the Jewish filth and so on. Anti-porn
It always
actors.
comes back to the JQ with these people.
Cultural studies scholar Simon Strick stated regarding NoFap that a racist culture war was already implied in the call to join the movement by becoming abstinent. The chapter continues, NoFap presents themselves as a search for non-toxic and progressive gender roles, even as they partake in gendered and racialized narratives that are no less violent. A paper in 2021 which analyzed a large corpus of tweets about NoFap found subject positions linked to myths, including anti-feminist and anti-Semitic themes.
Of course.
Is anybody surprised that we got here?
I mean, if doing this show has taught me one thing, is at some point we're getting back to the Jews.
It's kind of fucking wacky that like I actually thought that this would just be kind of a somewhat lighthearted. I mean, I figured we'd have to mention incels or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But like in the manosphere, I knew that was like gonna be on the periphery of everything, but like I didn't know it was gonna go right into the JQ, just fucking headlong.
Jesus, Quentin Christ.
Oh god damn it.
Oh my gods.
I mean, who's scheduled these protests?
Yeah, I'm curious. What group is responsible, and is it Nigel Farage?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to take any points if I called it because it's Nigel Farage.
Claims of semen retention. Claims of the semen retention community. I'm sorry, I need to back up a little bit more. Sorry. NoFap supporters are known for vitriolically attacking female scholars not sharing their view. What? Surprise. Sociologist Kelsey, sounds like a feminist, Burke, stated that Rhodes and a small staff manage NoFap.com and its brand full-time. There's no scientific evidence that supports the idea of these superpowers, yet hundreds of thousands of NoFap users insist they experience them. She critiques smaller gender problems in groups, including NoFap, stating the scientific and spiritual get muddled together as participants. We need to do an episode about that concept right there, I think, because that is getting a lot of fucking traction right now.
Which one?
The scientific and spiritual getting muddled together into like just kind of it's whatever fits the narrative that I want to have.
I guess you know what, it is the 20s, so we should have not been surprised that we're doing spiritualism again in that like turn of the century 1920s.
Yeah, I mean, do you think in like 30, 50 years they'll be like, oh god, the 20s, jeez.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
Or will they just be like, remember whenever our flesh wasn't melting off all day?
Right, remember when we had air? Remember air, guys? Air was cool. I liked air.
So they get muddled together as participants reinforce damaging gender stereotypes, those of hypersexual, biologically ravenous men who are simply wired differently than women. We're not wired that differently by and large, generally. I mean, everybody is a little bit, everybody's got nuances to them and stuff like that, but like men and women generally want the same shit physically, psychologically.
It's one of those things that I think that like at the end of the day, people are people and people kind of want the same thing, broadly speaking.
People are people, so why should it be that you and I should get along so awfully?
Well, because someone profits from it, right?
Song lyric there.
Okay. I am uncultured in the musical arts.
Only relation to male desire, porn addiction recovery reproduces the worst lessons of porn itself. NoFap forums are described by a 2020 paper as a place where men's sexual entitlement to women was left unquestioned. That's another thing, entitlement. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm, that's a
big factor in all these things.
Here, if we need to say it, you are not entitled to someone else's body.
No.
And no one else is entitled to yours.
Yeah.
And that's including if you're a man. That like if you're a dude and some woman is like coming on to you and you don't like it, you don't have to like it. You can tell her to piss off and that's okay. And good and healthy.
Yeah, I'd say this message is especially for dudes, because dudes don't seem to know it nearly as much as women do.
Yeah.
Women, they though it still happens, and they, there's oftentimes it's not in their power to prevent. They generally understand,
have a better understanding of it. Yeah,
that consent is key.
But there are definitely women who don't understand consent.
Sure.
I have a funny story about that. I'll save for the end of the show.
I doubt it's funny.
Oh, it's actually very funny.
Okay.
It's gross,
so
but it's funny.
The medical orthodoxy attributes the sufferance of NoFap users to various mental disorders rather than caused by PMO. Prowse and Binney note that note that the NoFap forums are overloaded with conspiracy theories seeking to explain this away. Several journalists have criticized NoFap. So there's just more of the same, kind of just repeating what we've already gotten the gist of it, I think, here.
Got the gist of it.
So litigation. NoFap has been involved in legal actions filed or threatened by its founder, Alexander Rhodes. After threatening 2 scientists with litigation, the scientists published a letter defending the need to be allowed to criticize NoFap. What is it with these fucking right-wing grifters and just hating people saying something against what they're doing?
Well, here's what it we're talking about, like these sort of scientific spiritual movements posing as scientific ones. Like, just write the fuck out of the Scientology playbook. Like L. Ron Hubbard's gonna rise from the grave and sue you for copyright infringement.
And you may remember, I have a video on my channel from like a year ago now or something.
Yeah,
where Mr. Ethan Van Sciver was doing some doxing of a former customer because they basically decided that he didn't like his comic anymore or want to buy it, whatever, and he just straight up doxed the dude on the stream, and then he actually says, "Oh, they're not customers of mine anymore. I don't care. I don't give a fuck." And it's like, that's kind of the same thing. If you're not paying the views,
that's maybe don't do that. Maybe be better at marketing your comic.
So let's see. Yeah, so you need to be able to criticize them. They operate in the public sphere. However, we deem it not only as legitimate but necessary to acknowledge and cite them as one prominent voice in the debate around masturbation abstinence. Everything else would be unjustifiable muting of their stand. NoFap threatened to sue The Spectator for writing about their association with right-wing anti-Semitic groups. Weird how they don't want that to be known.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Why would you, if you are allegedly like a pro science, if your movement is based in science, then it should stand up to scientific rigor. That's rule number 1. Like, that's the whole basis of science. It's about,
you guys are going to love this last bit here. You're going to love it. It's totally current fucking days.
All right.
A study of NoFap Reddit users found that NoFap members were most likely to also be members of the Red Pill, Seduction, and similar men's rights and pickup artist Reddit groups. Another study reported a similar pattern that NoFap Reddit members were also likely to be supporters of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Which is weird. You know what's weird? Okay, so all these weirdos, they're all into Donald Trump. A bunch of them are into Andrew Tate. A bunch of them are into Jordan Peterson, who are all like, in their own unique ways, about fucking women. But they have like this sort of pseudo abstinence. But like, especially Andrew Tate and Donald Trump, like, they're all about fucking banging. And not in a wholesome or good family way. One dude's on trial for sex trafficking. The other is, has cheated on every wife he's had. With a porn star. And he's an adjudicated rapist. Like, if you're like, wow, porn sure is evil and sure drives men insane to do awful things. Like, oh, look at these men driven by porn who do awful things. You would think that would, like, if you had a consistent worldview, it would push you away from them, not towards them.
So I kind of clicked over here to the NoFap subreddit.
Dun dun dun.
And I just want to read like one little bit here.
Sure. Yeah, let's see the greatest hits.
This is for 4 hours ago, sorry.
Sure.
And he just hit 7 days.
Okay.
I've just gotten to 7 days and it feels amazing. I have more energy and certainly a lot more confidence. Around the same time that I quit porn 7 days ago, I started doing 100 sit-ups every day. And I've noticed that the more days I am into NoFap, the easier it gets. And does he not realize that he explains it, right? This is sit-ups.
It's the sit-ups.
He's feeling better about himself because he's doing something
right
for himself.
Yeah, it's fundamental misattribution, right? Like, oh, you have put the time you were jerking off into doing sit-ups. That's why you feel better.
Yep, placebo and exercise. Imagine that has a positive effect on you.
Yeah, wow. And that's like talk to your primary care physician, talk to a nurse practitioner. They'll tell you, yeah, dude, work out more, dude. That's like pretty basic medical advice. I'm just like, oh yeah, what happened? Oh, you started working out. Your body is growing new tissue, and you feel more energetic because your body is metabolizing, old cells. You're clearing out the debris. Yeah, of course you feel better. You've managed your time better. Masturbation is just whatever.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Some of these are really wow. Fucking shit is the title of this post.
Oh boy.
So I finally made it to day 10 and then I relapsed. Fuck this shit. Just ban porn from the internet. It serves no purpose. It's a pretty big, just like, oh, I can't do it, so like I'm gonna make everybody else have to deal with it.
Right. Well, I like everyone. It's everyone else's problem, right? It's this lack of. It's a lack of understanding the problem, and make it someone else's problem because once again they moralize it, right? So like, you don't want it to be your fault because you don't feel like it's your fault because it's a perfectly normal thing. But you've been told it's someone's fault, so it's got to be someone else's fault. It can't be your fault. You didn't do anything wrong, which is true. You didn't do anything wrong. But you have this dissonance that's fucking you up. And instead of going, maybe this NoFap thing is bullshit, and maybe just like I relapsed for a reason because my body has needs.
Some of this is actually legit sad, man. Like,
yeah,
it seems to just be a cycle. I'm not going to show all these because I don't want anybody names.
Yeah, we don't want to. No, I don't want to.
It's a cycle of there's a few different kinds of posts. Just kind of looking through it. Like one is, my NoFap journey starts, and then another is I relapsed. I still lost my streak, and it's just kind of back and forth like that. And I mean, I guess that's what it would be, right? Like, but so
this need to publicize your relapses too, right? It's like self-flagellation almost.
Yeah.
Like why?
Well, it does remind me a bit of NAAA meetings that I've never been for myself, but I've been for friends and someone I dated once. Went to meetings and I did feel like it was a bit like, Catholic confessional or something. Where you go in and you say, I relapsed or whatever, and then like, everybody's like, it's okay, and you feel better about it, and then you go do it again. Is what I mean. Not everybody, but I noticed a lot of people that are in those meetings do that. Sorry.
Well, and also for anyone who doesn't know, a lot of those 12-step programs are not evidence-based.
Right. The reason I rejected it was, I'm not going to start off by the first step saying I have no power over this. Like, if I don't have power over this, then who the fuck does?
Right.
I refuse that shit. Here's one. So this addiction is ruining my life, man. I'm way too young to be dealing with this stuff. I hate this. I hate everything about it. There's so much I hate. It is unreal. But myself for being so dumb to get into this, it is unreal. It all started at the age of 11, getting into serious stuff at 14 or 15, breaking my mind, demolishing it. Got so deep, only fucked up shit would arouse me. for some reason. It's just, oh God. I don't even want to read the rest because it's just kind of fucking sad.
Yeah.
If you really want to know the kind of, the lows of how sad it is, hey, you can go check it out. It's free for all to look at. It's got 1.1 million members. Although there's only 104 online right now, which seems kind of a weird ratio.
Well, I guess if it's the sort of community that you check into when you're starting and you check out and then you punch in and out in a way, right? You go, all right, I'm punching in because I've relapsed. That's the language they use. It's not the language I would use, but we'll use their terminology. You punch in when you relapse and you punch out when you start up again or when you stop again.
Like,
then of course their online membership is going to be low because it's just a confessional booth.
Imagine what this does to your fucking self-esteem. Like, these guys probably don't have a lot of that in the first place. Listen to this one. I relapsed. It's 6:01 a.m. I was so horny that I couldn't even sleep and I relapsed. 1 month down the drain. Fuck porn, fuck Reddit, fuck this shit. You know what? I will not relapse again. This is the fucking worst. I hate this. Fuck this shit. And it's like,
guy, it's fine. It's okay.
You're to feel terrible.
You failed no one.
About a biological drive is not good.
And like, I guess if these people find this video and make it this far, like, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, even I don't really care for porn. It doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hold that I'm not trying to hold that over anyone.
You're like, I wish I was you.
It's just like different people are different.
Yeah.
And in the same way, I've had other people in my life get weird about, it's like, oh yeah, you don't watch porn? What the fuck?
Well,
what's wrong with you? It's like, no, it's fine. We're all different and that's fine. It's good. We should celebrate it. And if you want to jerk off less, there are things you can do to do that, but these groups aren't helping you. Talk to a therapist about it. Talk to your primary care physician if you have one. Like, there are professionals who can help you that aren't these confessional booths without the benefit of privacy.
The one thing I haven't read yet from my source here is the explanatory notes that state, though the term addiction is frequently used, a pornography addiction is not an addiction in the true sense of a brain disorder. It is instead more congruent with the behavioral addiction. Addiction to pornography is not recognized as legitimate medical diagnosis. And you guys that do see it as that, even though it's not, you're giving it way more power than it should have over you. Right. And you see it as this giant monster that you can't, you're trying to choke it out. And I'm sorry. And you can't beat it. Sorry.
I mean, they can beat it. That's their problem, right?
Yeah, you do. But I mean, okay, no, all jokes aside. These jokes aren't about you. They're just about, jerking off.
They're because Dane is a juvenile delinquent.
Because part of my brain is still 13 years old. I'm sorry.
You have to grow old. You don't have to grow up.
And this is how I cope with the fact that I just read some really fucking depressing shit. Like, you guys, fucking. I feel this about a lot of people who try to recover from, genuine, sincere addiction. That they do make it like, why would I want to go to a meeting a couple of times a week and talk about the thing I'm trying not to do? I mean, I know that it does help people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever go. If you should try it for sure. But like, for me, the way my mind works is like, I don't want to even fucking think about the thing that I don't want to do. So, and that helps. That's beneficial to me. I don't want to go talk about how, so yeah, I don't know. Just find other shit to do. Find ways to occupy your mind and your time. If you can to kind of, and then it takes 30 days of doing different actions to break a habit, something like that, or to begin to break a habit. After like 60-90 days, you will have broken the habit, generally speaking.
Yeah.
It's possible.
You know what I would recommend, even if you're, because I I have social anxiety, and like I certainly deal with it differently than I did when I was younger. But like, I get that it's hard to go put yourself out into the world, and I get that everyone doesn't live in an urban area or a suburban area where they have the ability to do that. But if you can go out into the world, it doesn't even necessarily have to be to socialize or do a communal thing, but that helps. But just go to a bar and people watch. Go take a walk in a park, downtown somewhere. Open up, Google Maps or whatever and find a restaurant you've never heard of in a town you've never been to and drive an hour and go do it and come back. Just go out there and live. Because I think especially we have, as a society, devalued public spaces so much. And so many of our social circles are online that it's hard to disconnect and go out into the physical world and disconnect from all of this. But you have to. And it's, it's weird that I say that as someone on YouTube, but like, nah, you gotta, you have to change what you're doing, because the problem isn't necessarily masturbation. It's just, how you use your free time, right? Yep. The guy who says, oh yeah, I haven't jerked off and I feel great, but he started doing sit-ups. Well, like, yeah. And you know what? If you don't like start working out other parts of your body, eventually sit-ups aren't going to do it for you anymore, because your body will plateau, because that's how exercise works. And then if you don't weight train accordingly, or don't add, cardio to your workouts or whatever, you will plateau, and then you'll have nothing to do. And if you're thinking, well, what was making me feel better was not jerking off rather than working out, you're going to fuck up your whole thing. That's a good thing. You're working out. That's awesome. I wish I exercised more. I fucking abuse the shit out of my free time. Yeah, add some jumping jacks. Go for a walk. Walks are great. And if you know someone, hey, you want to go for a walk? It doesn't have to be a date or whatever. It can just be your friends, right? Start Pokemon Go together or something, or one of the million Pokemon Go clones out there.
Yeah, I mean, well, to kind of respond to our homie in the chat here, Eric Debunks.
Woo!
I don't know if, I mean, it is funny. I don't know how much of that. I'm sure there's probably some of these guys that are doing what you're saying, where it's like it does seem to be a bit of a fetish kind of, in a way, like not necessarily that they're getting off to that, but they maybe just like the attention of this kind or something.
Yeah, I would say it's the attention.
But yeah, thanks for the support. Hope work's going all right.
Yeah, I hope your work is going well. Thanks for chiming in.
And then I'm not going to I won't put it on screen, but Bill, but like, you got this, man. It's the important thing to do, I believe, is to find the root cause for, that makes you vulnerable to something like that, and kind of explore that. If you can get therapy, and kind of do some, cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, just trauma therapy in general, talk therapy, anything like that. If you can find what the source wound is, right? That whether you fill it with alcohol or drugs or porn, but I've got a possible solution for anybody that watches that happens to you just want like a quick thing that might shock your system a bit. This is a podcast I listen to. This is one I mentioned earlier. Called it's Bad Magic Production. So that's Time Suck is the name of his podcast. So the Short Suck is actually an hour long, because generally his episodes are like 3 hours long.
I mean, we're guilty of that too. So
it's bizarre to see him, because I never watch I always listen to him. So I'm like, oh my God, this is what he looks like all the time. He's also a stand-up comedian. Generally, a pretty smart guy. Pretty ethically good dude.
Nice.
I've disagreed with him on a couple of things here and there, but nothing like super major. But like, as he says,
what's his opinion on Star Trek Picard season 3, episode 9?
I think he's pro it. And,
fuck him.
So do you know why Pornhub removed over 80% of its content at the end of 2020? The site was
I did not know Pornhub did that.
And great videos. Is it still? And if it is, where else can you go to find some ethical? So I mean, there's anybody that's just looking, that's not addicted and not having that kind of issue, but you want to know where you find some more ethical stuff. Listen to this. He goes and kind of describes several, like a handful of different sources that are like intersectional or queer focused or whatever, like just things that generally mainstream prawn doesn't do.
Right.
They do that. These are companies that like are very, very consent and full disclosure kind of stuff. Have lots of safety precautions and everything, just like doing things the right way. He offers that, but I mean, the thing that was really upsetting was learning that. And so in 2020 they did get rid of 80% of their content because of these reasons stated here. However, what it was found out was that they had known that that stuff was on their website for a few years, and it wasn't until there was going to be, like, I think it was Rolling Stone did a big report on it.
They got caught.
Then they deleted all the shit.
They got fucking caught.
So I mean, if you're somebody who's rightfully against these concepts here, and you feel like you probably maybe, because he describes in it that there were videos that were kind of presented as if they were fetish stuff, but they might not have been. They might have been real stuff, and that is fucked up. And anything where there's like this kind of room for error, it just, if nothing else, you need to be more mindful about what you consume in general, especially if it's this, or if you're consuming fucking manosphere dipshits telling you that you're going to get superpowers and that women are fucking objects and shit like that. Stop that shit. Stop it. All right.
You are not. Yeah, that's you are not going to get superpowers from stopping jerking off.
No. I mean, you might as well let a fucking spider bite you and hope that you become Spider-Man.
Your odds are higher, to be honest. Like, probably higher, more likely that the spider bites and give you powers.
I like Harlan's thing here. Fix yourself up, put yourself out there, and hopefully you'll find an amazing person who will fap you and do all sorts of other great things to you and with you. No fap will not help you. But I mean, not just fap you physically, but like fap your soul. When you find someone that can fap you intellectually too, oh man, you won't even fucking think about just self-fapping anymore. That's not true. You probably will.
Well, that's part of it too, is that these groups, and not just NoFap, but a lot of these like manosphere adjacent groups, they objectify women, and they simultaneously objectify them and make them out as some great evil. It's like they're people, and they're kind of just like you, and they kind of want the same treatment and things you want as a human being. And if you just treat a person as a person and you get along with them, even if it's not romantically, if you just make a friend, you know what's great? Fucking friends. Friends are awesome.
It's true. And then, and this isn't something that you should never, I guess in general, it's not a good idea to try to force any outcome in a relationship. So if you meet somebody and y'all get along or whatever, and you're not sure which way it's going to go, don't, just let it go where it's going to go. You know what I mean? If eventually the signs will present themselves, the moment will feel right. You'll both kind of get there if that's what's going to happen. If not, that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Because the friend zone is not a real thing. It's a fucking misogynistic term.
If there's a friend, if there is such thing as the friend zone, it's a fine place to be.
Yeah.
I have lots of friends, and I only sleep with one of them because I married them, and they're still my friend.
My partner is someone who, whenever we first met, I was not looking for any kind of at least not the kind of relationship that she wanted to have. And we remained friends, and hung out semi-regularly now and then and stuff like that. She was there for me to be my friend whenever I was dating. Some of you may remember I was dating an Australian woman.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's,
and then
that's 1,000 years ago.
Blew up and was difficult for me, but my friend was there for me. And through all that, she showed me who she is, and she earned a degree of respect and trust as my friend that then whenever unfortunate circumstances in her life kind of presented themselves, it still created well now here we are, and we have this attraction, we have these this life that we've kind of shared together to a degree, and like we chose to continue doing that together in a more romantic and stuff, and it's great, and it's a strong foundation that I don't think I've ever had. Now I've never had that in a relationship before, like just a really strong friend foundation. Like I have no doubts about who she is, you know what I mean? So there's like I've never had a relationship like this where I just 100% trust her. Like I've always had moments of doubt in previous relationships where I'm like, I don't know, but like I've seen who she is for a couple of years before we were in a relationship. So it's pretty cool. Friends are good. So here's in the chat, the dark truth of Pornhub.
Huh.
That's that video, that podcast
that you
episode
mentioned, yeah.
Yep.
But like I knew my spouse for over a year before we started dating even. And one of the things, like, I had a friend who was trying to push us to date, and it just made it miserable. Because I wasn't in a place to do that. But like he wanted that for him. He wanted us to date for his own reasons. And it's just like, you can't force these things. It's not how people work.
I'm going to tell you guys a secret. Some of you may realize this already, but some of you might not. Everybody is scared they're going to die alone. On some level, everybody has worried about it. So if you're letting that drive, you're like, oh, I have to get with somebody now. I have to force this happen. You don't, because they're also worried about it, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And also, here's the thing about dying that I realized, as family members have passed over the years. You always die alone.
Yep. Came into it alone, you go out alone. You might have somebody there with you.
You might have someone there at the door, but when your ticket's punched, you're by yourself.
I would say this is very careful advice to give. That you should because sure, that's true.
Know your local area. I would say no.
You open up opportunities the more you're around people. That's true, and there's nothing wrong with thinking about that and making that. But where it becomes a problem is if you then try to you're kind of fucking staring at some chick on the bus or whatever, or just trying to be all awkward and force a conversation with someone that doesn't want to have it. Which a lot of people just want to get where they're going, and they don't want to meet new people on the bus, or train, or whatever. So. Just it's a recipe for making you feel rejected when it's unnecessarily rejected.
Like my advice, and this is slightly self-serving, but is if you've got a local game store, people play games there. And nerds, if there's one thing I've learned about nerds over the years and in the many places I have gamed, nerds love sharing their nerd shit.
Yeah.
If you see nerds playing a game and you ask, hey, can you show me how to play that game? They will fucking do it. They will drop everything and do it.
So anti-idiotic, I kind of just did, because you're looking at it wrong. Don't think of it as you're going to get a girl. Think of it like meeting a human being who you can have a connection with, whatever that connection naturally, organically turns into what they want.
You will meet people in your life, and the more people you meet in your life and you treat with mutual respect and camaraderie, you may find someone who shares a romantic interest with you. But that should not be the goal, because you will drive yourself insane.
I'm not saying you think of it this way, but just think about, I want us to kind of like break down the language of get a girl.
Right.
It's like you're going to the store for a 6-pack or something. You know, and
I would just go for a spotted cow now. Shit. Fuck you, Dane.
I would just suggest, you know, thinking about people and like, you know, it kind of applies to how George R. Martin has famously said how he, you know, was it him? I think that how he writes women or something.
I have no
Maybe
idea.
It wasn't him. Maybe it wasn't. Now that I think about it, because everybody was a whore and stuff. But so, I wish I knew who it was for sure. Somebody said like, you know, not the quote from fucking As Good as It Gets, the Jack Nicholson quote. Not that. That's the shitty version. That's the misogynistic version. There's a writer who said was George. Okay, so what did he say? It was somebody said, how do you write women so well, you know, or whatever, and he's like, I just, you know, write a person, basically, you know, just write a person.
Turns out,
yep,
women, they are also people.
Stop thinking about them as some kind of, you know, that book in the 90s fucking did a lot of damage, I think. You know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or whatever.
Yeah.
Nope, both from Earth.
both from Earth. Both. Yeah, like it turns out people are people. We all kind of want the same things, and we're all kind of worried about the same things.
I mean, it's honestly, man, the way that's framed, I don't know. Like sounds like she made a good choice there. You said that, I mean, I wasn't going to answer, but she's saying it again. Okay. You said since you were 5, you didn't know anything when you were 5.
Oh my God. Yeah. You don't know shit.
I don't know what kind of, I mean, I don't know. It's such a specific and far out of my experience. I can't speak to it, you know, but I'm just saying that generally that doesn't seem like something that's good for anybody involved.
I had a cousin propose to me as a teenager, and I saw them twice a year. I told them no, and I tried to avoid them.
Yeah.
That's, you know, not saying you were like that, but like, you know, you're a fucking kid. You don't fucking know shit.
Yeah, this is absolutely right here. Like, you know, and I mean, you can even just get laid this way, you know.
Yeah.
I hate to be crass, but like it's happened to me. I used to go out on Tuesdays with my buddy and drink a couple of IPAs years ago.
Oh, gross.
I know. I mean, that's the only one I can drink. Only beer I can drink, though. It's like,
oh, God,
you know, tongues register it differently, different flavor palettes.
That's
like,
true. That's true. And you're from Texas. Your beer palate is unrefined.
Right.
You lack the strong German brewing tradition
as bitter, but I registered as sweet.
Oh, weird.
So it's like, yeah, it's fucking bizarre. But yeah, anyway, we would, you know, go out and have a couple beers, and then he would have some friends show up usually, and they were, you know, generally of all genders and stuff, and we'd have fun talking and joking around or whatever, talking about Battlestar Galactica and shit. And then one night, this one woman that was friends with a friend or whatever was there, and we started talking, same as I did other people. And, you know, things led to places, specifically the backseat of her car. But
hey, there you go.
You know, and that just came from talking of like, hey, you're a person. Here's the things we're both interested in, or our experiences that are kind of wacky. Let's talk about them. And then, you know, there's something, I don't know what it is, some kind of, you know, I don't like using fucking woo-woo language or whatever. Like, and you know, there's like an energy, something happens, some kind of chemicals firing that you both kind of will recognize it if it's the thing to do, you know?
Yeah. It's that human emotional connection thing, right? Like, it's not complicated. It feels complicated because we're hormonal meat robots, but
yeah. I mean, what Bob says here is also fucking excellent. Make people they don't want to feel like if you're talking about women you want to meet a woman, don't try to meet a woman as if like you're trying to meet a woman. Like,
right.
I mean, like we're saying, try and meet people, but also, what are they trying to do? What do they want?
What are they? Right. Like,
it's just
it
as
turns
important.
out wherever you are, they're there for some other reason. Like, they might also be there to hook up, but like, you got to find that out. They're not always there for that.
This is what's so fucking mega cringe about the goddamn, like the what are they, the the pickup
Incel?
artists.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
pickup. Oh my gods.
well, I mean, pickup artist is basically like the first stop to incel land.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, I'm gonna neg you. I'm gonna say some slightly, kind of insulting things, and then you're gonna want to bang me, right? Because
They
your
will
dad
not.
didn't love you enough, or something like that.
They will not, unless that's specifically their thing. They will not want to bang you.
Right. And if that is their thing, you're not setting up a good, healthy relationship. You may get laid. You may.
You
But
might.
you're not probably going to have a healthy relationship after that.
No.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
But yeah, like just go out and live. In my experience, you won't meet someone for a romantic relationship if you're looking for it.
True. That's true.
You just have to live your life and live earnestly and honestly.
Find something to occupy yourself
Mhm.
other than the thing that you feel is kind of bothering you. You think about it, wanting to do it so much, right? Like whether it's finding a woman, getting a girl, jerking it, whatever it is. If you can find something more healthy and productive that actually satisfies you, that you're able to see through on a regular basis, you will begin to feel like a more whole person, I think.
Because the kernel of truth in like that pickup artist bullshit is, for them, it's confidence is attractive. No. Happiness is attractive.
Yeah.
So, someone who is happy on some level with themselves. Like, I have depression. I'm not always happy with myself. But, generally I am of a positive disposition. I try to be.
Yeah.
Like, if you are a friendly person, like, that is just attractive to be around. You're a pleasant person to be around. And that will make your life easier and happier. And then you don't have to worry about all these weird, like, oh, how do I get a girl? Well, no, it's not about that. It's just about being a person. You will find someone eventually through statistically long odds, right? It's just probability if you're just a decent human being. It's math. It's boring in a way, right? Like, that's sort of the whole thing is they kind of mystify it. They want it to be spiritual. That's why they make it a moral issue. And no, it's just about being out there, living as yourself.
That's the grift of things that you don't understand. Is such a it's if where so much grift happens, maybe all of it.
A lot of it, yeah.
If you don't understand politics, you might end up with a guy like Trump who makes you feel like he's representing you, and you don't need to know it too much because like he's got you. Just send him some money. If you don't know much about how the comic book industry works, but you're vaguely interested in comics, you might end up with like an Ethan Van Sciver and Eric July who tell you bullshit, and then also send them money. If you don't know anything about the mysteries of how of I don't know, I guess what it means to be a human being in general, existential questions, philosophical questions, and you might have like a Deepak Chopra who says some words that sound really cool and like they mean something when they really don't. It's just a bunch of word salad, and also send them money.
That's the other thing is sending money, right? Hi, we're the Forced Adversity Podcast, and while we would like you to give Dane money, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't.
We would like you to like and subscribe, but that's free.
This is a free service that we provide. Out of the very hearts of our bottoms. All right. I've got to go to the bathroom. And we're dropping views like flies right now anyway. So I guess 2 hours is the limit for some folks, but thank you for being here anyway.
Thanks for stopping out.
This is pretty good. I feel a little bit ashamed of myself now. I kind of want to have a cigarette and a sandwich. Sorry.
And if we have any incels listening, or any people who are like, you know, a woman won't want me. Some woman will want you and they'll get handsy about it. And I have a funny story about that for like watching the monkey paw curl. Do you want to go pee and then I can tell the story, or do you want?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I was just gonna, before I do that, though, I was gonna say like these things that like the incel community have about like Chads and Stacy's and
it's
like
such bullshit.
That's so harmful to fucking think that that's the way things really are. Like, you've all seen somebody that you're like, oh, that person's not attractive, but the person they're with is fucking hot. Everybody's seen that. You know what? It's all subjective anyway, but we've all seen it to some degree. And the reason is because, you know, that shit doesn't really matter. It's not like a hard rule or something like that, where like your facial symmetry determines blah blah or whatever. Like, it's stupid. Anyway, I'll be back.
All right. You're gonna go Fat Bob. All right, you enjoy it. I'm glad we got you all worked up for that. Yeah. FAPcast is so free. We're just free with it. We're in the wind. You can get that breeze right up in your taint. That's a great feeling, by the way. Like, you get that up there, just sort of air it out. Oh, it's so nice. The only person you need to pay for their service is an illustrator if you're a writer, and an editor. Blood video. You pay your editor. Buy your beta readers lunch sometime. I mean, if you've got more money than God, then yes, pay them. But if you're, you know, an independent writer just starting out and you've got some test readers, like, yeah, maybe buy them lunch or something. Keep it friendly. I'm gonna have you guys read Cordal Maltese. What is that? I've been in love with new person in months. You have or haven't? And like, what does in love mean? Like, attracted to a person? Like, attraction and love are different things. Oh, cool. That's awesome, Blood. Can I call you Blood? That sounds really cool. The first graphic novel. Awesome, Blood. Thank you. I like calling people one-syllable things sometimes because I'm lazy, I guess. We'll go with lazy. We'll self-deprecate a little bit. Don't tell my spouse. In mouths? I missed that. Oh, gods. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I kind of want to look into that now. Yeah, I don't fall in love in mouths. I mean, a nice mouth is a nice mouth, but like in a mouth is a whole other can of mouths. I feel like I'm losing the metaphor here. Has anyone read X-Force? Anyone read X-Force issue 1? I know it made PR upset. He wasn't super happy with it. I don't think it made him upset. He just wasn't very happy with it. And I see why. But I liked it. Woo! Way to go, Maestro. Yeah, I liked it. I think it's an interesting concept. I have thoughts on it. I think the only thing I'm worried about is that I'm worried we're gonna get more like Mr. Sinister references, and after Krakoa, I've had enough of that guy for a while, for like a long while. So like, I get it might just be a tie-in to something he did in the past for this first issue. But gods, I hope that he.
What are we talking about?
X-Force #1.
Oh yeah, man. Like, there's a lot of Sinister.
I'm just like, it's too much Sinister. I'm just like, I think that was the part of the book that I'm like, really, we're back to this guy, huh?
And
I'm kind of over this guy.
Yeah. So I don't know if Jeffrey Thorne still watches the channel, but if you do, maybe hold off on the sinister stuff for a little while.
Like
As if he's just gonna, as if he only has one issue done already, and we're just
right.
gonna
Yeah, he's My hope is just that like Sinister is the familiar problem we're all familiar with from the Krakoa era. So like just start with something familiar before. Like I know they're going to Wakanda next.
I guess I felt a little bit like Deadpool was fucking exploited as shit.
That was the point. I think that was what they were like. That was the.
Well, I mean, is that going to come? Like, is that just going to be a throwaway thing, or is he going to actually? I'm hoping this is something that's addressed. As like Forge, you fucking piece of shit.
Like, I mean, they sort of did in the book because like Rachel was like, "Dude, that's kind of fucked up," and I think Sage was too. Sage was also like, "Bro, really? Like, we're just gonna."
Yeah, but then they also just kind of left him to deal with the situation. Like he's like, yeah, but he's kind of fucked. Like,
yeah, that's not cool.
Hopefully that they follows up on that. I believe you will. Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, look, this is the first time I believe that I've. I mean, I talked to him a couple of years ago, but he is now, someone who writes an X book that I've had a really good conversation with.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that, but
1,000 years ago.
1,000 years ago. That was crazy because, like, I remember he was in the comments of a video, and I didn't recognize the name in the comments. I don't typically assume that there's a comic book writer like for one of the big two in my comments. And I think it was PR Deadpool was like, Jeff Thorne is in like Green Lantern. Jeff Thorne. And I was like, wait, what?
Holy shit!
And I looked and was like, holy shit, that is him. But that wasn't even the big thing for me. It was like, I mean, yeah, that's big, but also he was on the show In the Heat of the Night.
Oh, was he really? Wow.
Yep. And I used to watch that with my granny. And I was like, oh my God, this is like bizarre on fucking two levels. Yeah, he used to be on that show. When he was a younger man. He was one of the cops.
Huh. So for Blood Video Company, they've ended the Krakoa era, and now we're in the From the Ashes era, which is basically things went to shit. Humans fucked up, and then Chuck fucked up, and then a bunch of robots were fucked up, and now everyone's just kind of trying to play it cool for a minute before things inevitably get fucked again.
Can we do a quick comic talk?
Yeah, sure. We got
till we're at 2 hours and 17 minutes, so no longer than 2.5.
Okay, all right. We got 10 minutes of comic talk.
So have you ever read Spider-Man Reign?
Oh my God, yes, I have.
Well, Reign 2 started coming out. It's got one issue out so far.
I heard.
It's kind of weird. It's a kind of a mixed bag of an experience, but
well, I mean, that's on brand.
But other than that, let's see. I was gonna show what some of this current fucking day is. Oh, look what else I got. Flash Gordon #1.
Oh, nice
series. I haven't read that yet.
Nice.
Haven't read NYX yet, but have read X-Force though. Did you read the end of this, by the way?
Yes, I did.
I thought it was pretty well done.
It was well done, but I'm sad because
it's sad. They're both sad. I was kind of wondering, like, is Emma actually going to give a shit? And at first, it seemed like she didn't, but she did.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see them again. Oh yeah, Dane, have you seen Wolverine yet?
Nope, haven't seen it yet.
Well, we can't talk Wolverine then.
Thinking Tuesday.
Okay,
also,
cool.
Jason Aaron, Namor #1. I didn't love the art, but the story has an interesting start.
Nice, that's awesome.
When we meet him, he is imprisoned and he is sworn off ever going into the ocean again.
Holy shit, that's a turn.
It is a thing. Era of Apocalypse.
The end of that was fine.
So I told you in Discord that seems to be something that is kind of like a reworked version of what Hickman apparently wanted to do.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And if you go back to House and Powers, you can see that the seeds of it being planted pretty immediately. You had Doug spent close to a year on Krakoa by himself.
Yep.
Just like, talking to Krakoa. Who knows what they talked about all the time? They were always chilling and stuff. And you also see him kind of spreading the techno-organic virus throughout the island as well, which comes into play later. Not. It comes into play like with past lives of Wolverine and stuff, or deaths of Wolverine, or whatever it is.
Right.
But that's clearly not the final play that there was going to be done with that. I don't think.
Right.
What it seems like was that this was kind of going to be that Doug Ramsey was going to be one of the big bads, if not the big bad of the Krakoan era.
Interesting.
And that was possibly Hickman's thing. And I have a thing here I could look at in a minute to back that up. But yeah, I guess it felt a little bit rushed at the end.
Yeah, it was fine. It was like, I guess it's my final verdict on Era of Apocalypse is it was fine. It was a comic book. I don't have any strong feelings on it. I wish I had stronger feelings on it.
Phoenix, very good.
That's what I've heard. I haven't had a chance to read Phoenix yet. I haven't had a chance to read
fucking Local Man. Holy shit.
I've heard it's really good.
It's one of the best comics I've read in a long time. It's God damn it. Tim Seeley. It is about a guy who returns to his hometown. However, he's not just any guy. He is a early 90s image hero. So there's kind of like this meta narrative. He's not one that really existed.
Sure.
But there's a team that the two creators of this have created together of like characters that are very, they're very of that era.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a love letter to that era, as well as kind of making fun of the tropes a bit.
Sure.
But the bulk of the story is very drawn, illustrated very kind of like, like a slice of life type story almost. Like it's it's a little bit dark and stuff. But like, yeah, he comes back to his hometown. He's got to live with his parents. We don't quite know exactly what went down at first, but he's off the team that he's been on for years. He's still got some powers or whatever, and he's still able to, but like nobody fucking respects him. Everybody thinks he's a shithead. His parents don't like him. And it's just
I empathize with that.
Yeah, it's legitimately one of the most original, ironically, stories I've read in some time. And it's fucking fun. If I can turn anybody on to an indie book that is well worth it, I was just like buying issues. I mean, they're only $1.99 on this fucking platform.
Kindle, on Amazon's.
Yeah. Other than that, what else?
I haven't got the new Ultimate Spider-Man yet. I'm not reading Blood Hunt at all. I haven't read fucking anything past the first issue.
Deadpool Wolverine World War III, pretty good. It actually doesn't stand for World War. Now, once you start reading it, you realize that.
Okay.
But hands down, comic of the year, man. Fucking comic of the year is Ultimate Spider-Man.
I did not read the most recent issue yet, but yeah, it's gotta be like, it's really it's been really fucking good.
Every single time it ends, I'm just like, holy fuck, how did you do this, Jonathan Hickman? It's like, it's familiar and strange, but it's also just like just a little bit of spoiler. I want just to tell you how brilliant some of these things are. You may have noticed that there's not really any inner monologue for Spider-Man so far, not a whole lot anyway.
Right.
And also, there hasn't been any Green Goblin or Norman Osborn presence other than
because Harry is Green Goblin. And I think Norman's supposed to be dead, isn't he?
He is dead, but in this, Dr. Octavius, who is the head scientist guy at Osborn, where Harry runs now, he's the guy that he's a really fucking smart guy. This Octavius guy, I think he's going places. He's been kind of examining these Picotech suits, whoever said, that are made by Stark, originally, kind of like I guess some stuff has been done to him by Osborn or whatever, I don't know, but he's studying them. They're so fucking advanced that they're just now starting. He's just now starting to crack how advanced they are. And one of the things the main thing that he learns in this one, because they're basically training against each other, Spider-Man and Green Goblin. After what happened in the last issue, they realized they need some training.
They got fucked up by Kingpin.
Yeah. So they're training, doing some brawling, some sparring, and Otto tells them that the suits have this function of like you can basically, it has an AI that you can map on essentially any person's personality onto it that you want to.
Oh.
Harry says, "My dad."
Oh.
And then suddenly you've got Norman Osborn telling him he's a fucking failure and shit as he's motivating him to fight and shit. And you start to see, oh, this is how he's going to lose his shit.
He's going to lose his goddamn mind. Yeah.
So instead of actually having some kind of like mental illness, or instead of having some kind of like magical thing going on or whatever, it's just literally the AI voice in his fucking suit that he's probably going to become addicted to.
Sure.
And then Peter says, I don't know, myself.
Oh, so his inner monologue is going to be literally an AI duplicate of him. That's cute.
And I was like, God, that's so fucking, it's so good.
That's pretty good, Hickman. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll leave it up for at least a day or two. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'll even take it down at all. I don't feel like there's much that would be good in an upload, so which is normally why I take them down, so that I can upload something later.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about your usual suspects. It's
What's that?
We didn't really talk about the usual suspects. So
of what?
Just the normal comics chuds.
Oh yeah,
wasn't really a chud focused, politics focused
I'm fine with
conversation.
That. We can finish this off without doing that at all.
I don't mind that.
And come back on Wednesday, which I do believe will have a full roster this week, possibly. I know Turf is supposed to be back this week. I don't know if DJ's going to be available. I'm sure Bob probably is. I know I am. Okay, now I want to talk about Bad Bub real quick. Not
bad
good.
Bub.
Very bad Bub.
Uh-oh.
So I had never read the I don't know, the run basically leading up to the death of Wolverine in the comics.
Sure.
The death of Wolverine I actually think is pretty well done. It's not bad at all. There's a lot to like about it. It gets to the core of the character. It gives him a chance to be a hero on the way out the door, kind of thing. And then he's entombed in adamantium, and you got the Professor What's His Nuts who made him, literally asking him, as the adamantium is cooling on him, as he's walking out into the sunset. And the adamantium is just spilled all over his fucking body because he saved some people from being injected with it.
Right.
He's asking, "What have you done with your life? What have you done?" Blah, blah, blah. And these flashes to just like, not even a whole lot, but like several of the most iconic,
the classic moments,
Logan's life. And he goes, "Enough." And then he dies. And it's like, oh, that's pretty fucking good death.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
But the fucking run leading up to it, I'd never read that. I said, you know what? I'm going to get that. Why does Wolverine have a gun?
What the fuck?
So this is
what?
3 months to die.
I am sorry. He has a what now?
Yeah. Oh, you see right there.
Can you? Oh my God! He has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and why
he
is
got
that?
a gun?
What's up with his costume? Oh, well, it's not just a costume; it's armor. Because he has lost his healing factor by an encounter with something that kind of took it. And now, of course, as he, realizes and eventually does happen to a degree, his adamantium skeleton is going to poison him to death.
That's right.
Because he doesn't have a healing factor. He also is very vulnerable. And he, for the first time, and he, as far as he can remember, gets fucking scared in a fight and runs away.
Oh, wow.
And so the next thing he does is he, learns how to shoot a gun. Oh, he actually also what happens is Sabretooth nearly kills him.
Fuck.
He returns to the old life as leader of Jean Grey School with a cryptic message: the Wolverine is dead. Long live Wolverine.
Damn.
So he realizes he's got to do things very differently if he's gonna survive.
Yeah.
And you see right here where the claws are not coming out of his hand.
Mm-hmm. It's like
out of this thing.
It's like an extra attachment there, yeah.
He can't heal that shit very easily or anymore
at all, yeah.
And he's hanging out with this group of people. Like you're just kind of thrown into the situation. For one good thing is Ryan Stegman. This is, I think, maybe his earlier career at Marvel, and it's not as refined as he ends up being, but it's still pretty good. but the writing is not good.
Oh,
this is bad. I don't like it. It doesn't justify the stuff that's going on to me really at all. It's also told kind of like Tarantino style.
It's out of order.
Mm-hmm. And so you just see this stuff going on. You're like, wait, what? And then it flashes back to something. You're like, huh? Wait, what? You know?
Not good.
But
not good at all.
Yeah, and then like Wolverine's got a gun, and he's learning from Black Widow how to shoot a gun.
That's a good person to learn how to shoot a gun from.
It is. I mean, you know, yeah. She's his niece after all.
Wait, what?
Not literally, but canonically, she is. I think she's called him uncle.
Oh my God! Really?
Yep.
Damn. That's I'm getting my Wolverine facts for the day, I guess.
He was sent to. It's in Wolverine Origins, the Daniel Way run that kind of lays out a lot of his history whenever he gets his memories back.
Sure.
But he encountered her when she was a little girl and her father, and she was already on her way to becoming an assassin.
Right.
And he was supposed to assassinate her father, and he chose not to.
Because Logan's good people that way.
Yeah, he's good guy. But yeah, this shit is just like, and here he is, just killing a guy, you know?
Just like you do.
Guy. And none of it is, you know, like what? It's just like shock value shit. I don't know.
Nah.
I didn't like it. I'm not even done with it, and I'm like struggling to get through it because it's just like bad vibes, man.
And Wolverine's a hard character to do because like he's supposed to be this badass, but like he is every shade of fucked up.
I will say that their one bright spot so far had been his encounter with Spider-Man, who at this time was Norman Osborn, but nobody knew that.
Oh.
Not even Wolverine knows that. You might think, well, Wolverine could know. No, because Norman's in Peter Parker's body, so he just smells Peter Parker.
You mean Otto Octavius?
Yeah, that's what I say.
You said Norman Osborn.
Oh God, yeah. Fuck.
I was gonna say when did that happen? Like I know my Superior Spider-Man because I actually really enjoyed that run.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't think I was going to.
Right. I think this was kind of trying to do a similar thing, maybe.
Sure.
So this was trying to give before they took him out of the story for a while. They were trying to give him like a really out of left field, you know, situation that he's in. So basically, he more or less quits the X-Men, or he does. He leaves, you know, tells everybody he's just going to end up fucking, you know, failing them because he literally does run away from a big fight with these fighting robots or something with the X-Men.
Oh, shit.
He's got to figure out how to be afraid and what to do about the fact that he's afraid for the first time.
Right. That's kind of a big deal for a guy like that.
He essentially becomes seemingly a villain.
Oh.
And he's actually working for a group that is trying to get to another group that is headed up by Sabretooth, who is now got a gang, and he's doing all kinds of crazy shit too. Yeah. So, you know, it's weird. I wouldn't recommend it.
It sounds very weird. And not good weird.
No, not good weird like you know, I don't know. Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man is just
bad weird like MAGA.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I got a video that I'm going to play while we get out of here. Just because I shared it in Discord because it's really good and it's pretty brief, but it is, I think, relevant to think about. This weird thing is amazing. It's weird.
It is.
But it's amazing. It's been awesome to live through, and like almost worth a lot of shit to kind of see things turn the way that they've started, or basically turned instantly. It was like one day we're like, man, I wonder if, you know, Kamala's going to be able to get people to rally behind her, and if we're going to be able to do effective messaging. And then the next day, all the right is weird. Everybody on the left is calling her weird. And it's like, holy shit, they hate it. This is great.
They hate it. They fucking hate it. Well, I think what it was is that, because like I have certainly, like we've called some of these people weird. We've made that observation, and like other sort of terminally online people have. But this is the first time that like people in the party and like people who are more major players in the Democratic machine have said the words out loud, and they couldn't ignore it. And it's also that, like, because they want to feel powerful, right? It's like, it's the fascist delusion.
Yeah.
It's demeaning, right? Because they don't want to be weird. Like, you call me weird, I go, correct. I'm weird. That's cool. I like.
Well, you know, one of those Fox and Friends guys tried it. He's tried it. He's like, you know, weird is that it's actually pretty cool or whatever. And it's like, dude, you don't fucking believe that, weirdo.
No, yeah, good.
You're just trying so hard.
Pure cope.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, like, maybe, I don't know, this Mr. Beast situation is crazy.
Okay, so I don't even know who, like, I've seen that tossed around and I've seen videos about it, and insert the Thanos meme. I don't even know who you are. Like, who's okay,
he is
so who
the biggest YouTuber.
That's why I don't know who he is.
I mean, he's like literally the biggest one.
Sure.
He's, I don't know, something like a ridiculous amount of millions of subscribers. And he is known for doing like some charitable videos where he, like, you know, will give somebody who needs a car, or does, like, you know, kind of pricing them. And he doesn't do apparently what Oprah used to do, which is give you a car but not pay the taxes on it. He does pay the taxes on vehicles that he gives to people, so that's like not just handing them a fucking burden. You know, and then but you know, apparently at some point it became exploitative of kids. There was like a lottery going a couple of years ago that kids were engaging in. You know, and then now there's like they're doing some show in partnership with Amazon Prime that's basically Squid Game for kids. And apparently they've been starving kids, they're losing their medicine while they're there under their care and stuff like that. You know, like some kids were starving, and apparently they would give them, because he has like food that you can buy at 7-Eleven with his name on it, Mr. Beast. You know, like little Feastables, little snack things or whatever.
What the
And so these people were starving, and then they would, the cameraman or whatever, producer would come up with the camera, give them a little Feastable snack bar, and then film them eating it, so that they'd be like, oh God, this is so good. You know, like really fucking bizarre, not cool shit. So
fuck.
Actually fucked.
Well, I guess that's why everyone's mad at him.
Yeah, and you know, we had to talk with the boy this morning because he's a fan of Mr. Beast.
Oh no, yeah. Wow.
You know, but he handled it well. He was like, yeah, screw Mr. Beast. Like,
what?
Well, we do know that it's a giant company basically at this point. It's not just a guy anymore. It's a giant company that has a lot of employers. They're like encouraging OSHA, ignoring OSHA requirements and things like that. So just all kinds of.
Yeah, you're a scumbag.
I mean, I mean, I do grant the possibility. Is he's still culpable? I'm not saying he's off the hook, but like I grant the possibility that he might not do anything but come out at a call time onto onto whatever set, say the things he's supposed to say, and then go back. And like he might not, but still, your fucking name is on it. You started the YouTube channel. You started the thing. It is still your responsibility.
Yeah, the bus stops with you, bro. Sorry.
Yep. He may not be literally doing it, but yeah.
Yeah, you might not literally be doing it. You might not be culpable for the bad actions, but everyone's going to blame you for them.
And here we go.
So this is why I'm not a YouTuber.
The word weird and why Democrats are using it.
They're just weird.
Weird. That is weird behavior.
This week, we have watched a massive political vibe shift in real time. Kamala Harris is the Dem nominee, J.D. Vance is now Trump's second favorite son, and Republicans are desperately trying to beat the weird allegations.
Democrats' newest attack on Republicans? Weird.
Oh.
So that is one part of it. Yeah, there's like it's like a three-headed fucking crazy thing happening. And man, I appreciate that, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. Blurred's great.
Choose all sorts of streamers. Blurred's pretty fucking dope.
I refuse the label of streamer. This is a hobby.
Yeah.
I have that privilege though.
I will accept begrudgingly YouTuber because that's literally, I guess, what I do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Weird. JD Vance is weird. It's all weird, and everybody's on board with it. But I always thought being weird is kind of cool.
But before you write those 5 letters in Ted Cruz's replies, it's important to remember what's behind the word.
We won't watch
Because
this whole thing,
Democrats
but
aren't
just
just
the first
trying to
part here.
spam a funny buzzword. The goal is to accurately point out how creepy and divorced from reality the conservative agenda actually is. No normal person wants to eliminate the Department of Education, or thinks the president should commit unlimited crime, or tries to inspect children before they play sports. Because all of that would be weird.
What if we are weird? What's the big deal?
This strategy has been in the works for a while, but it was potential VP candidate Tim Walz who brought it back last week.
These are weird
Tim
people on the
Walz?
other side. They want to take books away.
Did he just snag the fucking VP spot with this weird thing?
I hope so. I hope so.
They want to be
Tim
in your
Walz
exam
is
room.
an absolute hero.
Is he? I don't know anything about him.
So he's the governor of Minnesota, and like I have been saying since.
Oh wait, he's refused some anti-trans shit, hasn't he?
He's right. He signed a sanctuary bill. He's done a lot of good things for the state of Minnesota. He's one of these Midwestern Democrats that like has the policy of doing shit. One of the quotes he has said is that in the past Democrats talked a good game to save political capital, and I believe we should spend that capital.
Oh.
So
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
Tim Walz is like if I got to pick who the VP was, this is the guy.
Okay, so not Bashir.
Not Bashir, no. This
All
is
right.
the guy. This is my guy.
I haven't really looked into any of them, so I'm just kind of like whenever I encounter somebody talking positively about one, I'm like, oh, okay.
That's what it comes down to.
It's truly the perfect way to describe these people. I mean, if someone in real life told me a child doesn't deserve a free school lunch, my immediate reaction would be, what are you talking about? Same with defunding libraries or social security or public transit. These things make our lives better. Why do we have to pretend getting rid of them are normal good policy positions? It's cultural too. I mean, the average American can hear Cardi B or watch the Olympics without pooping their pants. But conservatives are still hung up on a trans person drinking a beer over a year ago.
The pay increase is good, but the military pulled a Bud Light.
That's weird. I thought this would be a good strategy for a while, but honestly, I did not expect it to be this effective.
All right.
Yeah, like I have always thought that these people are weird, but I'm glad to see it working so well and it being not just us down here in the dregs, but like
I think there's
all the
also
way
a
up.
layer of it too that's like all the fucking bullshit that we've been called
Mhm.
for, wanting people to
Years.
be treated like basic human beings, basic decency, which amounts to essentially you're weird freaks and shit like that,
Mhm.
There's some catharsis to it for sure.
For sure, for sure. Well, and we don't need to make up or assign a term, right? Like how they have to, they can't just like criticize
Right.
people that are not of their group, right? They have to be satanic or
Yep.
communist or
or some kind of man trying to beat up women in the Olympics or
right.
fucking whatever, like it's not
Degenerate.
just that they're trans, it's that they're grooming children. They have to add that
Right.
shit because otherwise it would be obvious that they're just trying to enforce their values onto individuals who should have freedom to do what they want. That's
But-
why the groomer panic exists.
Right, but because they like they have to see themselves as normal in their own minds, and that they have not like had to defend themselves, just like, hey, bro, you're weird.
Yep.
They explode, right? In a way that like it's almost this like I don't quite like a test, right? Like if we were having a secret meeting and it's just like, okay, like outside the door, right? The guy slides open the little bar in the window or on the door, the little bar window in the door and goes, you're weird at someone. And the guy flinches. You're like, you're out.
All right, that's all I need to know. You guys
There we
sold me on
go.
this stuff. All right, well, on that note, one more of these, and then we get out of here. Hit the like button, subscribe, please, if you're not already. Come back on Wednesday or go to one of the other fine channels listed in the description, which you should also subscribe to if you're not, and give them some views and some likes because they're all doing good shit. It's arguably better than what we do here. You know, I wouldn't argue that. I think what I do is amazing. But I do it even better with Morgan here.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have a lovely week. Stay cool, stay hydrated. It's gonna be hot.
Stay weird.
Stay weird, man. But not weird like that.
Not they're weird. No, they're
we're more like this.
But hear me out. What if we got Tom Cruise as Iron Man in an Avengers movie for 5 seconds? He doesn't want to do that. Robert Downey Jr. If it isn't all Mr. Oscar winner. I saw Oppenheimer. Show me. Right. Well, here is our offer to you. It's a number. I think it's a very nice number that you're going to be very satisfied with. So take a look. Oh, you're taking out a pen. Okay. Well, you're adding a few zeros. That's fine. Remember how big our budget was on Loki season 2? No. Go ahead. You earned it, buddy. Okay. I think we can work with this. We can. I think that's the GDP of Greenland. I'm bad guy now. What does that mean? I don't. Bye.